You know
Okay,
me.
folks. Well, I think we're all set up, so let's get things started off here. Welcome, one and all, to the annual Third Act Podcast Year in Review. We're going to be discussing our top 10 worst and then best movies of 2022.
It's runny diarrhea.
Oh, good. I'm so glad we're going to have that to accent everything today.
Nick, we should have told him it wasn't working.
Just the two of us. Just dish them.
Damn, that's a fancy toilet. Holy shit.
Uh,
That one might be my
Uh,
favorite.
let's start
Nick-
with Justin. Tell us about yourself, your stream, and also tell us about how you felt about 2022 as a year for movies.
Yeah, so I am primarily a freelance filmmaker. I'm a writer director. I particularly work in the horror genre. Um, but when I'm not working in film, I am streaming, and I stream at Ringa Rogers. I primarily stream Sea of Thieves, and yeah, we just crossed over 1,000 followers and did a 24-hour stream and have like a little tight knit community.
Yeah, you do.
And yeah, we're just vibing, and
Hell
that's
yeah.
that's all I got to say about that.
How do you feel about 2022 as a year for movies? Just
right.
any thoughts in general? Like, was there a theme to a year? Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? Was it a mediocre year?
So honestly, like, and from what a lot of people I've been talking to and a lot of lists I've been looking at, and just the kind of the range of the lists I've been looking at, like,
Mhm.
I would say this is probably one of the best years in film since
Really interesting.
maybe 2016. Like,
Ooh,
I thought
let me
2016
pull
was a
that up.
fucking strong year, and I think even if we wanted to go back even further, like maybe 2007, 2008, maybe. Um, like I think you look at all the lists, you look at all the filmmakers that came out with like material this year. It's such a wide range of like you have spectacular blockbuster films that came out this year to really great independent films, and then prestige filmmakers and new filmmakers who came out with marvelous work. And I don't think, I think while I feel strong about my bottom 10 list, I do feel that my top 10 list, like if I had more time to watch more stuff, I would probably um really have a difficult time picking like what would be in my top 10. But
Oh yeah.
from what I did see, it all is so, you know, there's a lot of surprises, I would say, this year. So I would say
Yeah.
in terms of film, like, I think, film's back, baby, and I think, the movie-going experience is back and,
That's true.
to a degree. But I do feel that I think, in terms of, like, it wasn't just independent, film market that was doing, good. It wasn't just the, mainstream film that was doing good. It was kind of all of it. It's like everything was, like, I thought was pretty great, and there are some films that I will get into in that respect for sure.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Matt, tell us about yourself. How did you feel about 2022?
Hi, I'm Matt Rush. I am also freelance film. I think 2022, I also agree that 2022 has been a really good year for movies. It's probably because didn't spend January watching straight to streaming Ice Age sequels.
Hey,
But I think oh, sorry. I I think it was a good year
Careful,
for
the Puss
movies.
in Boots sequel did really well, apparently.
yeah,
I know. I
apparently.
still actually want to see it.
I kinda wanna see it too.
Like, I don't know, give me more Antonio. Bring him into my life.
True.
But yeah, it's been a really busy year for me. It's gonna sound insane when I say how many movies from this year I've watched, but I still feel like there's a lot of stuff that I missed that I think probably was really excellent or I've heard was really excellent, and I kind of had to cut my losses a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think it's been a pretty solid year. What about you, Nick?
I'll start with the movies to go just where you left off. I feel like honestly for me this was a bit of a mid-year looking at my list and like I brought up my 2016 list cuz Justin brought it up. 2016, holy shit. Shin Gojira, La La Land, Arrival, Your Name, Neon Demon, Handmaiden. I would also say like 2019 and 2014 for me are the years that really
Yeah.
stand out.
I felt like
So
2019 was a really good year.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just to agree with you.
2019, fucking Parasite, Little Women, Uncut Gems, Avengers Endgame, Midsommar, all
Yeah,
that good
strong
stuff.
year.
In summer.
Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker.
Yeah, so I mean, it's always interesting
Hell yeah.
to consider like Rise of Skywalker. I mean, that was definitely something for the ages, just not in the way they were anticipating.
That was a blockbuster, and it was a thing.
It was a thing that exists.
It
and
made money.
happened. Yeah,
You
so I'd
know,
say
not really.
Actually, let me take a look.
yeah. I will say like
It
yeah,
made
this was 2022 was kind of like I agree with Justin, it was like a bit of a surprising year just in terms of my entries. Like yeah, my entries are kind of eclectic just in terms of like genre and style and the tone, and I definitely think above all that the like I don't want to say COVID is over because that's irresponsible. It's probably just going to be here forever. But in an era where COVID is mostly the worst of it seems to be behind us, I feel like that era of like going out and going to the movies is yeah, it's definitely back. All thanks to Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise single-handedly stopped COVID and saved the movie industry, as everyone's been right.
Dude, I'll have you know that
well-
Christopher Nolan pushed hard for that agenda.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
we
that's
may
right.
we may be talking about this later, but Tom Holland has said that actually his movie was the first movie back after COVID.
What,
Uncharted?
Uncharted, yeah.
That's bold.
Do either of you listen to the movie podcast Weekly Planet?
Oh, it's
No.
the Aussie guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
I don't listen to their podcast, but I watch their YouTube videos.
Okay, yeah, you should check out their podcast. Very, very funny. They have a recurring bit where they do impressions of Tom Holland, and it's fucking hilarious. It's just give him this little baby voice. God, I do not. I think he's probably a really, really wonderful guy and a good person, but I am so goddamn sick of him. Like outside of Spider-Man, he hasn't done anything that's like kind of even been like remotely good. Like the movie, he's been in movies that were kind of good. Like what was the one with Robert Pattinson, where Robert Pattinson's like the creepy old pastor?
It's like
Devils
d-
come back.
like the
Backbone.
only the devil knows or some.
I like how you
like,
both just like
devil-
you both just named like 5 made up movies that have the word
Oh, it's
devil in it.
It's called the devil all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
like that movie. That movie.
Or
Like,
City
It's
of
called the devil
Lazi.
all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that also sounds. But the
It's called
devil all the
Devils All the
time sounds
Time.
like a made up fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom Holland kind of
Not a great
sucks.
title.
So, yeah.
Wow,
yeah. So I'd
coming
say
in hot.
for me it was kind of a mid-year, but I don't know. It's always interesting. I'm really looking forward to like getting 1 or 2 years removed from this year to see how I feel about these movies, because I do feel like I don't know, just something about this year. Like my top 10, a lot of them or most of them are just movies that I just feel like I'm gonna need a lot of time to digest them. There were a lot of long fucking movies that actually
I
for me
would
that came out that were in my
agree.
top 10 this year.
I would agree. I think there are some films that like need some digesting for
Oh, yeah.
a longer period of time.
Yeah.
that we'll definitely get into.
Okay, well, I think we should go ahead and get started on our top
Ready.
10 worst movies of 2022. Last year I went first, and I'm very ashamed to say this, but so our VOD for our 2020 movies best and worst, like I have all of our VODs saved on my YouTube channel, but 2020 it's just not there. It's just fucking
Wait,
gone.
not even on YouTube?
No, it's not on YouTube. It's not on Twitch. I don't know what happened. I feel like maybe I like made a highlight and then just neglected to
Oh.
upload it or something. So that sucks. But also I bring it up because I didn't know who went first that year. But I went first last year, so I'm gonna say either one of you guys start us off with your number 10 worst movie of 2022.
I'm happy to
Justin,
go for.
yeah, I was gonna say how hot are you coming in? How much of a banger is your number 10?
My number 10's not much of a bang. Well, I think here's how I look at it. My bottom 10, I would say my number 8 onwards, or my number 8 to 1 is pretty fire and flame.
Okay.
Maybe my number 9, but my number 10's kind of dookie. But I'm happy to go first to get it out of the way.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me just pull up the info here on it real quick.
Oh,
So my
actually-
number,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I would say really quick. What I like to do this for bottom 10. What in your mind determines, like, is a worst movie of the year? Is it boredom? Is it being offensive? Is it that it's just like technically made? Like, what are the main priorities that make it a terrible movie for you guys?
number 10's a good example of this, but I think, in terms of like, it being kind of ordinary, average to boring to middling to then, as the list goes down further to bad filmmaking, to bad acting, to bad messaging, to
Mm-hmm.
bad craftsmanship, to just bad execution, to bad everything.
Okay.
So it just
I
kind
w-
of increases with that scrutiny, but my number 10 I think is a good example of kind of like, something that's kind of average to mediocre to like, this studio has done better.
Sure.
Even if their technology has improved, their storytelling I think has suffered and their characters have suffered.
Oh, really quick before we dive
Yeah.
in, do we want to go through how many movies we watched
Oh,
this
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we should do
and
that. Yeah, sorry, we should do that.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
very
that's okay.
curious because you guys, I've been pretty like
You've been going
religious
kind
about.
of ham this year, yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of like number of movies watched within the year, I think this is my best year we've ever had. I might be missing like a couple, but I currently have 87. That's what I'm listing.
87. Okay, nice.
How about you guys?
Uh, go ahead, Justin, please.
I would say since we started doing this, Nick,
Mhm.
since 2015, this is probably my worst year in
Oh, okay.
terms of like watching like movies. Because I think in 2015 I was like 95. That was my that was my lowest.
Hmm.
This year it's 59.
Okay, it's still a
Which
very reasonable chunk though.
it's good, but like man, my numbers were low this year. Like I got to crunch them more. So, but yeah, 59.
And Matt?
I am at 101 movies and I
Ooh.
deeply regret it. Would not advise.
Yeah. There's, I would say like, like to put it in reference, like my list out of 87, like when you get to, like I would say actually it's pretty much right around like number 50 or 51 is when kind of the bad movies start, and every movie above 50 was either good to decent. So actually, yeah, most of the movies I watched this year, I'm glad I watched.
I think that's true of me too, but I have a larger
You suffered more.
I maybe have a larger reference of things that
Yeah.
I will also say that I think that it is also a year that has had a lot of really kind of divisive movies
Mhm.
in terms of like I think that there are maybe some things that are going to be in your guys' bottom 10 that certainly aren't in my top 10 but didn't near that zone, and I think that's probably, I don't know, a lot of what I have is in my bottom 10 is a real shit pile, but they're like I feel like there's one kind of pseudo divisive movie in my bottom 10 that you guys probably won't agree with as well. It's just been
okay.
an interesting year.
I would say our bottom 10s are gonna be interesting because I got some
Ye-
hot takes in there.
Yeah, Justin has some hot takes, which I'm I'm
Yeah,
prefacing.
yeah. I
Okay.
bet you have someone on speed dial.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't have anybody on speed dial. I
Okay.
respect your opinion, and I'm excited to have a discourse with you about it.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Also, to answer your question, Nick,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's hard to pinpoint like one thing that I would really define as like making the movies on the bottom of my list movies that ended up on the bottom of my list. I mean, I'm looking here and I'm like, there are things that were just like completely insufferably boring. There are
Mhm.
things that like barely function as films. There are a few things that like the craft of them is impressive, but there's just so little heart behind it that it just like completely kneecapped it. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't think it's any one thing that would make me be like, these specific movies all share this thing that makes them bad. I guess a lot of them are boring,
Okay. All right.
but
Sounds good.
yeah.
All right.
All right,
So my number
Justin.
10. So my number 10 is Pixar's Lightyear.
Oh, I did not get
Um,
around to that.
So it's like fine, it's ordinary. It's, I think Chris Evans does a serviceable job, but it's just like kind of like, what's the point? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, it like looks good, but like I think the storytelling's a little bland. I think there's a twist that's kind of not good. I
Oh
think
yeah.
yeah, I think
You're you're like reminding me what happened in Lightyear. Even I'm just truly like,
like it's kind of interesting what they do with the twist, but it's also like
yeah,
kind of I don't know,
an interesting
boring
idea that's
too.
maybe not thought out super well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like ideas in there that are worth exploring, but also I'm like I don't know, just it just felt manufactured to me, and
Yeah.
Yep.
I I don't think it did anything to expand on Lightyear. I don't even necessarily understand. That it prefaces at the beginning of the film. This is the movie that Andy saw when in 1995. I'm like, motherfucker, if we had a movie look as good as this and be as progressive as this in 1995, then you're all cooked.
It, it like I just feel like that just that immediate moment where that title card pops up just
Yeah.
so immediately makes you feel like, oh, these people had no fucking idea even really like what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So like if I had I don't know, if I had watched Morbius, this would be easily out of my bottom 10.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
But for the sake of like the amount of movies I have on this list, unfortunately, Lightyear, I couldn't switch it out with Weird and Al Yankovic's story because I did enjoy parts of Weird, but
Oh yeah.
Weird was kind of on that line for sure. But Lightyear, I think, is just more going by the numbers, where Weird is just being weird, and I like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I never got around to Weird. That's one of
I
my
think you would dig it. Do you like what's it called? Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
I remember thinking it was okay. I haven't seen it in a
Okay,
long
well then maybe
time.
you
But
think it would be okay too. I think Dewey Cox does a better job being kind of a parody satire of like the musical biopic genre than I think Weird does trying to be a musical biopic satire of like Bohemian Rhapsody, and which just
yeah.
sucks because I think Weird could have gone a bit stronger with that, but not to say Weird's bad. I just think Weird could have gone further.
Yeah.
Maybe re-listen to some Weird Al music though, so that's gotta be something.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, that's my number 10.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. I did not see Lightyear, but it's interesting because I feel like of all the Pixar movies, when I first saw a trailer for it, of all the Pixar movies that have ever released, I was like, oh, holy shit, an actual like in canon Buzz Lightyear movie. That's gonna be fucking badass. Like it seems like there's so much potential for this, but then everyone I heard from said it was just so mediocre and just very kind of like bland and watered down. So yeah, I did not check that out, and I'm glad I didn't, I guess.
That's funny. Every time I watched that trailer with anyone new, like we would go to the theater and that trailer would come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I distinctly remember I went to go see West Side Story with my mom for Christmas
Oh, nice.
in 2021. And the
Nice.
Lightyear trailer came up and she was like leaned over to me in the theater and was like, "Wait, I don't understand what this is.
Oh,
What
really?
I don't but it's based on the toy. I don't what does this mean?" And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, Mom."
Uh-oh. Yeah, well, that's a bad sign when that's the someone's reaction to the trailer. All right,
Yeah.
I will take it off next. next. Oh boy, jumping in strong with the politics, baby. It is Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
meant to get around to this one.
Definitely
had
don't pay for
no
it for
in-
obvious reasons.
I
I
had no intention or urge to watch this movie at all.
That's good. I mean, so just the two main things. The one main thing is J.K. Rowling's a big piece of shit. Like she's just doubled down on her awful turfness. So I'm not gonna go into that, but she's awful. Like, and the fact that she's like very public
all
about
know.
it is really shitty. But the movie itself, like, I at least for me, I can at least like for a movie like this or a series like this, I can at least separate her awfulness from the movie because there's room to celebrate everything else that was involved with the movie, the cinematographers, the lighting people, the tech people, the actors, the people who adapted her shitty screenplay and couldn't figure it out. So there's a lot to celebrate and still unfortunately acknowledge that she's getting money for it. But ultimately, like, the movie itself was just so convoluted and confusing and hard to follow and like just way too many fucking characters. Pulling up my review here. But yeah, performances are good. Cinematography looks very nice. Has a few pretty sweet action set pieces. The story constantly fluctuates between illogically boring and near indecipherable as someone who does not study the Harry Potter wiki. Like it just seems like it was trying to be reliant on people who are obsessed with the Harry Potter world, and then on top of that, there's just a lot of kind of wishy-washy mishmash feelings of like, what is this series? Like, what the fuck is this about? Because it started as
True.
I think the first movie is pretty great.
I agree.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think especially Eddie Redmayne gives a wonderful performance, and I really love his character. And then by the time we get to the second movie, and especially the third movie, they have
Okay.
like shoved him to the side. Like he's a fucking supporting character who's literally just like the audience's viewpoint, and he doesn't do anything much of note. And it's like the script is constantly trying to force him to be a main character, but it's just way too many ideas, way too many characters, not getting enough development, and it's just a bad movie, on top of J.K. Rowling's awful turfness. So that is Secrets of Dumbledore, my number 10.
I remember really not liking Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh yeah,
So
that movie was a mess.
yeah.
I'm
And
trying
so,
to remember what year Crimes of Grindelwald came
I
out.
think it was like 2018
18 maybe?
Yeah, because I feel like I watched it with Shelbs when we were kind of dating early on.
I'm really what I'm doing is trying to go in and figure out. Yeah. So the last one was my least favorite movie of 2018.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
And I distinctly remember, apart from the last one, where they had to fully grind the movie to a halt and literally have a character pull out a magical family tree to try to explain their nonsense plot.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about like the
It's-
very end?
Yeah, where they open a book and a family tree comes out, and one of the characters is like, "You thought I was this
Oh,
person's sister, but really I'm their
yes.
aunt, and this means like da da da." And I was
You're
like,
this person's brother.
Yeah,
I was like, this cannot be happening.
it was literally, I remember that is legitimately one of my like most hated individual scenes of the past decade, because like up to that point, like the first movie I thought was pretty great, and I think up to that point in the movie I was like just barely hanging on, like, please be good, please get better, I really want to like this, because the world building is really wonderful and the actors are really doing a good job. But then that scene where it's like it takes like a fucking like 15-minute break from the main story to introduce like 5 new characters through a fucking flashback, and it's like, this baby drowned in the ocean, but actually it was a different baby, but people thought it was this baby, so this baby is actually alive, and the one you thought was alive is dead. And it's just so
Yeah.
bad, just horrible like plot structure writing. So I vividly remember
Yeah.
being in the theater, and like that was the moment where I was like, okay, these movies are gonna be fucking bad. Like this is it. So
Yep.
yeah.
If I
Delightful.
had watched Secrets of Dumbledore, I'm sure I would have knocked out Lightyear. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We're gonna. I think any movie, either me or Nick name from the bottom 10, you're gonna be like, if I had watched that,
Oh yeah.
Lightyear
Oh,
certainly would
yeah.
not have been.
Like I feel like I gotta kind of defend Lightyear a little bit. You know what? Maybe it
Yeah.
is. Maybe I'll put it in my top 10. Hang on.
At least Lightyear
Oh
is
my
a
God.
wholesome movie for kids. I mean, this
It
is
is.
just a mess.
Lightyear's got some
Lightyear-
good visuals. It's got a good theme.
Yeah.
Let me take it out of my bottom
L-
10.
Light.
10.
Okay.
Lightyear is like number. Do you want to do a new number 10, Justin?
No, because I don't
Your
want to put
pick.
weird there, and then I got the Nicolas Cage Massively Talented movie, and I can't do that. And then I got women
Oh, yeah.
talking, and I definitely can't do that.
That's fair. Yeah, no, Lightyear's like 35th up from the bottom for me, which is still not
Damn.
like good. But it's like, yeah.
I'm
it's-
having a morality complex with Lightyear at the moment. But let's
Okay,
continue.
Yeah.
We'll move on from Lightyear.
yeah.
My number 10 worst movie of the year is called They/Them.
Oh,
Oh,
I
it is-
heard about this. I really wanted to
heard
watch
about
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a Peacock original
Kevin
horror
Bacon.
movie starring Kevin Bacon, who I
Yeah.
will say is good in it, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't even really know what to say about this movie. It's bad. It doesn't even like succeed in trying to like be pro LGBTQA. It's just like a weird hot mess.
Oh my
But-
god.
It's all the actors are bad other than Kevin Bacon. I mean, shocker. Yeah, I don't know. I barely remember this movie, but I do remember just being like, "Oh, this thing is a fucking slog." Yeah, it's just like boring. And it feels like a movie that was made in like 1998. Like if Kevin Bacon didn't look so old, you would be like, did they make this movie like 20 years ago and it just sat on a shelf? It's real bad.
Is it?
I don't know
So
what else to
is the
say about
premise
it.
is the premise that like LGBT youth are going to a camp to be like you know what's the
It's
word?
it's a conversion camp.
Right, that's the word.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Bacon is running this conversion camp. And
Okay.
they're all there, and it like I mean, obviously the movie's trying to do like a slasher movie thing, because basically somebody, and you don't know who for most of the movie, but somebody is going through and starting to kill both counselors and people at the camp.
Okay.
And it's like trying to do slasher movie, but it's also trying to do like teen hangout empowerment movie, and it really like deeply fails at both of them. It's
Reminds me of
it's a-
Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp had a lot of like hangout like sequences, and then there'd be a murder.
yeah, it's like Sleepaway Camp, but it's not like unhinged enough to be fun in the way that
True.
Sleepaway Camp
Okay.
is.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like if Sleepaway Camp was made by like the board of directors at NBC because they needed a Peacock original movie.
Probably.
And you get they them.
And you get They/Them.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds awful.
If I had watched They/Them, I think it would knock Lightyear out of my.
Yeah, are you
bottom
gonna
10.
say this for every movie?
I hold you know
No,
you know what,
no, I'm just
Justin?
saying.
I mean, no, you're probably
You know
right. I'm
what,
sure
Pointing
you're
a
right.
fact.
You know
Yeah.
what, Justin? I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe you.
I'm glad you do.
It's running diarrhea.
All right,
Justin
number
commenting on his own opinions about Lightyear.
10. Oh, okay.
Where are we at? Number 9?
Yeah.
Number 9.
Alright, this is a little spicy. Alright, my number 9 is, and this is my homeboy. My number 9 is Darren Aronofsky's The Whale.
Ooh, time to get very controversial.
So
That
there
movie.
are parts of that movie that I really like, but
Mhm.
then it just fucking screams Oscar bait.
Okay.
Like I cannot like there are sequences where Brendan Fraser is quoting an essay that was written by a student about the story of Moby Dick and how, this captain is trying to get this giant white whale and whatnot. And he's naked and he's like drinking Diet Coke and eating 2 slices of pizza on top of each other and literally eating out of like, the bucket of a KFC, chicken thing. And I'm just like, man, like you know how, like, when Precious came out, like, there was a stereotyping of, like, Precious running around eating, like, a box of, like, chicken wings and whatnot, like, just stereotyping, like, um, Black people in that way. It's, like, the same thing here where it's, like, they're stereotyping just obesity and, like,
I
fat shaming and all that, and, to a point,
Okay.
and I just thought it just screamed, pretension, which to be fair, I think Darren Aronofsky does run in that realm quite a bit, but
Yeah.
when his pretension works, I love it. Like Mother is a great example of I think his artistry working. And I think he as a filmmaker does this kind of whole like documentary style kind of thing, but he chose to be very static for this, which only emphasizes like because it's based on a play, so it emphasizes the
Right.
kind of like structure and like kind of I don't know performative nature of it all.
Okay.
Brendan Fraser's good. I wouldn't say he is great,
Oh,
but I think
really?
he is good. I
Okay.
think he's good,
Hmm.
but I don't think
I thi-
he's
I
breaking
th-
my heart.
I
Like Mickey
think he's
Rourke
the
would.
I think he's the only one in that whole movie who manages to elevate the material enough that it feels like everybody else, in my opinion, feels so stunted in that movie, and he's like the only one where like I feel like his kind of charm shines through
Yeah.
and
Oh
like
yeah,
fights
there's
through
moments.
that
Yeah.
fucking
I
garbage play dialogue.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest issue with it. Like of all the problems I have with it, I think the script is fucking terrible.
Okay.
I think the script is horrible. I think the dialogue that goes with is horrible. There's a character that shows up at the beginning and kind of stems throughout. He's uh like a not a missionary, like I think he's a
He
Jehovah.
is a
Is he a missionary? Yeah, yeah.
he's meant
Um
to be like essentially like a
like a
Mormon missionary, yeah.
yeah. I was trying to peg him exactly. I don't think he was a Jehovah Witness, but he was like a missionary, and his whole part of the story is a little I don't know weak for me. Hot take. I think the Sadie Sink character is pretty great though.
Oh,
And I
really? Okay.
know there's a lot. I think there's been a lot of people that said she's terrible, she's evil, she's awful, and I'm like,
Oh.
well, you got to put yourself in her position and kind of understand where she's coming from, and she's a kid, so it's like, I think if you go into it and you are despising the character the whole time, I think, uh, I think you do feel for the Brendan Fraser character, quite a bit in terms of like kind of like, but it's also he also establishes early on too, like the whole theme of like self-pity. And I think there is a lot of like self-pity that oozes off of Fraser's character in that movie. And I think because you are already have this narrative of wanting Brendan Fraser to succeed as an actor, you don't want to
Yeah.
see him get shit on by this little redhead kid. But um, and the ending's terrible. The ending
okay.
actually the ending is actually pretty good up until a moment where you know what I mean? Like there's a moment where it kind of
Yes.
gets a little goofy. But like
Me and Marcus, our
yeah,
mutual friend Marcus Baker,
yeah,
saw The Whale together,
yeah.
and I'm staying a little bit quiet in this conversation because I've made a split-second decision that I'll explain in a minute. But
Whoa.
me and Marcus Baker like could not help ourselves and busted out laughing in the theater when that
Oh,
specific
wow.
I
moment happens in the
growed
ending.
so hard.
And
Oh,
we were
wow.
like laughing like literally hysterically laughing for like 10 minutes about how bad this moment was. and we had to like reel it in because we walked by a person just like hands in their face weeping, and we were just like,
Hmm.
all right, we have to wait till we get out of the theater, but we were like, it's oof. Yeah, that moment's
It's rough.
wild.
I think for like mouth breathers, people would really enjoy it.
Wha-
But
oh.
like,
Whoa.
what? What?
I mean, I haven't.
What?
I don't know. That just came
Justin's
off
like,
as a
I
little
think
harsh.
if you're a fucking simp, Justin's like, I think if you're a fucking simp, you'll like the whale.
I'm just saying, if you're like an average Joe, a mouth breather.
It's
going
a-
to
Oh,
the
that's what
theaters,
you mean
you're
by
gonna
mouth
be-
breather? Oh, okay. I
What
thought
did you
it's
think
a-
I
I
meant
thought
by
you
mouth
meant
breather?
I thought you meant like people who are like the character that Brendan Fraser plays. I thought that's what you're playing. People who are
Oh.
obese. Okay, well then my bad.
No,
No.
no, mouth breathers. Just people just like sitting there, just
Oh, like
watching
okay.
them. Just
So like the Rich Evans
Yeah.
stereotype.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
Fucking-
Okay.
Yeah,
My bad.
well,
My
no.
bad.
No. Yeah, no. I mean that's. No, yeah. So long story short, Darren Aronofsky is a filmmaker. That's usually a 4.5 and 5 bagger in my book. But man, just The Whale. I think he went back to that well of like bringing an actor back from like giving an actor a star-stunning kind of like movie to prepare. Like this is the same thing with Mickey Rourke in The Wet Wrestler, Natalie Portman in Black Swan, and then here you go with Brendan Fraser. It's a very showy piece, but it's done in a very kind of, I don't know, a very obvious and kind of grotesque way. And yeah, it's The Whale.
Okay. This was the one movie that I still had that I did not get around to, but everything else I wanted to see I saw. So I'll probably check it out at some point because, yeah, I mean, I've certainly
I
heard.
envy you. I wish I could live in a world where I hadn't sat through this movie.
Okay, yeah, it's very interesting. I've heard, I think maybe the most discourse in terms of people being divided about this movie than any other. And it's like
I
I've
agree.
watched like so many roundtables with Brendan Fraser, and like as a person and as a
Mhm.
human, I'm so happy for him, and I think he is probably a really wonderful dude, and he deserves all his success. But at the same time, I can absolutely see how this movie would not be the most tasteful, I guess you could say. So.
At this point, I'm just kind of hoping that Austin Butler causes an upset with
Dude.
his Elvis performance because I think
So
I mean,
he's
he
incredible.
did
very
at the
deserving.
Globes.
He did,
Absolutely.
but that's
He did at the
there's
Globes,
baggage
too.
with the there's baggage with the Globes.
There's
though,
baggage
with,
with Fraser and the Globes. Yeah, I know.
but and then
Yeah.
Fraser beat out Butler at the Critics' Choice. So like it's all kind of come. Did SAG come out yet? Once SAG comes out, that'll kind of determine kind of moving forward.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Butler's fucking great in Elvis.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
fucking Rami Malek can win an Oscar for fucking miming his way through the
Yeah.
goddamn movie, then
Yeah,
Butler
putting
should
fake
get 3
teeth
Oscars.
in.
Yeah, fake
Yeah.
teeth, having someone else play the piano, having Freddie Mercury's actual singing voice come out. Like
Yeah.
it's all fake.
Austin
man.
Butler
Get
can't even
fucked.
talk like a normal human being anymore.
know.
He is Elvis. Thank you very much. You know what I mean?
Somebody was
That is
like,
kinda
"Can you
weird.
please stop doing the embarrassing Elvis voice at the Globes?" And he was like,
I can't stop.
I wish I could. It's just it's a part of me now. I
Part of
don't
it
know."
now.
I was like,
He's like,
"We broke Austin Butler. Give this man an award."
Yeah.
I love Austin Butler.
He's so fucking funny, dude.
He's great.
Yeah, I won't say much about Elvis. It was a mid movie for me, but I will say the two things. Austin Butler was probably my favorite performance of the year, and the fucking live musical performances in that movie are astonishing.
nuts.
They are so moving and palpable, and just the way Baz Luhrmann captures like the feeling of someone being like connected with the crowd. And obviously like Elvis had the biggest like connection of any artist ever, aside from like maybe the Beatles with his crowd, but like the way he captures the energy of those shows is fucking unreal. It's so cool, man. So
I
yeah.
can't imagine any other director doing a better job than Baz Luhrmann, and
Yeah.
doing it with a story that because Elvis is so larger than life, having a character next to him that's slightly more ridiculous than Elvis, like the Colonel. Is that right? What it was?
Yeah, his wild vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
his wild
the
vibe. So
Colonel.
it's like, I think Baz Luhrmann's the only one that could have really pulled this off magnificently, as well as it could be. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. It truly depressed. Elvis is my number 12 for the entire year, and
Oh,
I spent
damn.
Oh,
So
I spent like
close.
many days being like, do I just bump some things just to like
Just to get it in there.
represent my boy Austin Butler? But
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Still, overall,
All
definitely
right.
a very good movie. Okay, my number 9 is probably a movie that I don't think either of you are aware of. It's a very long title. Let me type it in here.
oh,
Justice League Dark.
No, it's a fucking. My number 9 worst movie of the year is the adaptation of the anime series Full Metal
oh my
Alchemist.
god, I knew it. You weren't far off, Matt.
Yeah. So,
right.
Full Metal Alchemist, the original. There are 2 anime series. They're wonderful. People should watch them. Like genuinely wonderful writing, very thoughtful, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just a story of 2 boys who go through some fucking
Oh.
horrific hardships, and they grow. And there's amazing characters, amazing story, amazing plot progression. So this movie like personally offended me as it being one of my favorite animes of all time. It's
I'm looking at the Twitch stream. This looks like absolute dog shit.
So it's a bunch of a bunch of Japanese actors doing whiteface and brownface. Like the whiteface you can get away with, but they're like portraying characters who are supposed to be like of Middle Eastern descent. It takes place in a fictional universe, but it's very much so a reflection. The universe it takes place in is very much so meant to be a reflection of World War I, like Europe and Europe's relationship with the Middle East. And so it's like you have these Japanese actors who are both portraying like German white people and then also like native indigenous Middle Eastern tribes or what are supposed to be. So it's just kind of inherently offensive on that front. But let's see. The hair, makeup, and special effects range from barely acceptable to sloppy. There's a character who's very prominent and famous in the series named Armstrong. He looks like a homeless, gross version of Mr. Clean. Every costume looks like it's a mid-tier Halloween cosplay. Most of the characters don't even really look like their original characters at all, or most of the actors, their portrayal. Every actor is directed to exaggerate their physical tics and line deliveries to the point of cartoonish stupidity. Let's see. There are ways to translate the unique energy of an anime to live action, but it's got to be one of the most difficult tones to nail down. The guy playing the main character, the main actor who has the most screen time, is like the worst actor in the movie. So that was just really baffling and disappointing. I really get the feeling that it was, one of those situations where I think the whoever was like doing the on-set directing was like probably had like the fucking actual anime on his phone, and he's trying to do like shot for shot recreations of the anime, and he's like directing the actors to like be more cartoony, make your eyes bigger, flail your arms like a little anime character, like that kind of shit. But just on a technical level, a lot of it just looks pretty shitty in all regards. The performances are bad, sound design's bad. I guess, and the way they chose to adapt the writing made the writing a lot worse. And again, the original writing is very strong in this series. So, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? The vast majority of these series are really bad. I will say though, and I can't remember if this was on one of my lists last year or the year before, but there's an anime called Rurouni Kenshin, and that has received multiple live action adaptations, and they're actually quite great. Mainly because it's like a samurai action combat type show, and the action and choreography in those movies are fucking fantastic. Like some of the best sword fights I've ever seen in a live action movie. So it is possible to do anime correctly in live action, but this is not it. And this is Full Metal Alchemist: The Revenge of Scar, my number 9 worst movie of the year.
Beautiful.
If I had seen Full Metal Alchemist: The Revenge of Scar, it probably would have knocked out. Like,
yeah, I know it would have. I know it would
I'm just putting
have.
it out. I'm just
Uh,
putting it out there.
All right, yeah, we can
uh,
move on since I
alright.
don't want to linger on this, and I know you guys don't have anything to say about this shit. So let's just move
I
on.
have nothing to say about that other than
That's
it looks
good.
bad.
That's good. Keep it going.
My number 9 of the year was Thor: Love and Thunder. And I
No,
think
no, that's
that
not okay.
I think that was
That's
a
tough.
harsh opinion, and I've been grappling with that for a few weeks now, of being like, am I being too harsh on Thor? And then, as has happened to me many times in several weeks, I
You got a
heard
call from Chris
someone.
Hemsworth.
I heard somebody in the vicinity of me say the words "the whale," and a deep boiling rage raised up from inside me slowly
Oh.
but surely.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not mad at Thor. I'm not mad at Taika Waititi. I'm mad at The Whale. So my number 9 worst movie of the year is The Whale, and I am about to fucking pop off.
Dude!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay!
Dude, that was fucking
I-
sick. You got me. You had me in the
You
first
I
half,
pulled
not
up the
gonna lie.
trailer. You fully got me.
That was good, dude.
Yeah.
I have never seen a movie about fat people that hates fat people as much as The Whale does.
Hmm.
The movie never gets over the just concept of viewing Fraser's character in a way where they're like, oh, he's such a nice guy. It's just such a shame he's such a big fatty, stupid fat fuck. The movie's just like, the way that Aronofsky films him is like
Hmm.
deeply cruel. It's ridiculous.
yep.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like Darren Aronofsky just feels like a person who like looks at fat people and is like, oh no, oh, have you thought about not eating? Like, it's just it
Hmm.
fills me with a
Interesting.
seething rage, and I left the movie being like, that was bad. I didn't like it, and I feel like not daily conversations, but several conversations a week talking to people about this fucking movie, and it
Wow.
will now not escape my world. I think Fraser's good. I'm warmer on his performance than I think you are, Justin. I think I think it is a very good performance from him, but the movie is written, it's a fucking terrible
The
script.
writing's terrible. The script
The
is
writing's terrible, and you have like a stack of like, I don't know who the fuck that kid is who plays the missionary, but other than him, you have like a stack of good actors who just like cannot reckon with the awful material. It's
Hmm.
I don't know. It's
Oh, and like I was just looking at the trailer again. Like how I knew it was gonna be bad right off the rip is that the first shot, the
Yeah.
webcam classroom, and the kid accidentally types in the group chats, and I'm like, and Brent Fraser's like, oh, I'm sure you meant to send that to your friend Tommy or something, but don't worry, my webcam's not
Yeah.
working right now, but it'll work eventually. And I'm like, how
Also,
obvious do we need to be, movie?
also
It's
this
running
is like a
diarrhea.
movie that is trying to be like, oh, this delicate sweet man has like destroyed his life by like falling in love with a man and everything fell apart. How do we display that this character's gay? You know,
Oh, by like,
that he loves
yeah.
this man. I don't know. I guess we'll have him have a heart attack while he's jerking off to gay porn.
Oh.
It's like
It starts
oh,
off pretty
God,
strong.
Oh my God.
fuck this movie. Okay, and then yeah, there is a point in this movie, and I bring it up so much because it's like just I never even thought like a movie would have the audacity to do this.
Hmm.
There is a moment in The Whale where the score, like the dramatic, depressing score, like swells as Brendan Fraser takes a slice of pizza
Oh.
Yeah,
Slap.
yeah.
Oh,
Look,
no.
he does mayo first.
Oh,
Douse it. No,
God.
no. It's ham, ranch, folds it in half, shoves the whole thing in his mouth. It's
But then he
Ugh.
glues the two pizzas together with like mayonnaise or ranch or something.
no.
You
So
remember
this
that?
is like he slaps the two pieces
Yeah.
of pizza together and
Yeah.
eats them both at the same time, and then it cuts to him slapping cold cuts onto a pizza and dousing it in ranch and then
It's-
folding it in half and eating. It's like
It
truly
screams
like
it screams The Room vibes during that sequence. You know, where
Wow.
it's
God.
supposed to echo like maybe like Citizen Kane, where it's like he's destroying his bedroom, but like it just screams like, man, look how sad and emotional this guy is. Get
Yeah,
real.
the whale fucking sucks. Aronofsky's a fucking dick. I agree that most of his movies are good, but he also is historically a fucking dick.
Hmm.
And Fraser's good, but
I got
it's
some
certainly
I got some an off broadcast story I got to tell you from the movie I worked on this past winter, and there was a story about Darren Aronofsky, but that's going to be an off broadcast story, 100%.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
Darren Aronofsky's a bad guy. Fuck the whale. Fraser's good. I hope it's a jumping off point where he can come back and, have a good second half of a career after,
I think
everything
so.
he's been through.
He'll be fine.
I think so too.
The Mummy.
I am-
They're gonna reboot the Mummy movies with him, 100%. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
he's got like knee problems now, so we'll see.
but they did like a Vanity Fair interview with him going through his career,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the man's like winning a fucking Oscar so hard. Like it's that Vanity Fair interview is fucking awesome. It's really good.
Just any time he shows up on something, people
Yeah.
adore him. I don't doubt that he won't win. And if he loses
Yeah,
to Austin
but-
Butler, cool.
And if he loses to Austin Butler, fucking the king has spoken. But yeah, that's all I have to say about The Whale. I just had to go on my little rant. That movie fucking sucks.
Great. I was blindsided. Great
Yeah.
intro to that.
Yeah, especially because, I mean,
I just literally have.
oh no, I was going to talk about Thor:
I
Love
wasn't
and
even
Thunder.
doing
So
a
go ahead.
bit. Like I was sitting here. Oh no, I was sitting here like staring at the Thor: Love and Thunder poster in my number 9, and being like, and me and Justin had lunch like a week ago, and I was like, I want to try to get around to rewatching Love and Thunder because I think I was too hard on it, and I think if I watch it again, certainly it will come nowhere near my top 10, but it probably does not belong in number 9 of my worst movies of the year. And I was just sitting here staring at it, being like, man, I never got around to Thor. That's such a bummer. Like, I wish I could have like let it like redeem itself, and I wish there was a movie I just like viscerally hated more than Love and Thunder. And then Justin, you said The Whale, and I was like, that's it. That's right. That's it.
Nice.
I would have understood if you talked about Love and Thunder, but I think Love and Thunder, with all its problems at the end of the day, like I still think it's a solid flick. It's just not nowhere near as good as Ragnarok, and I think
Oh yeah.
Thor's kind of
I
a
just-
weird. Thor's weird in a way where it's like you're dealing with two pretty intensive dramatic stories, and you have a filmmaker who is fucking goofy handling that.
I think
so.
the issue that I had with Thor, just speaking really quickly on
Yeah.
it, is that I think it's this good. I saw this great Letterboxd review of the French Dispatch, where somebody was like,
Mm.
he finally did it. He Wes Anderson Too Close to the Sun, and that feels like Thor: Love and Thunder to me. Whereas like
a good quote.
nobody would like. He was just surrounded by like a sea full of yes men, and it was like suddenly like every movie or every character in that movie is like the comedic relief and it's a real showcase of how bad the effects are starting to look in Marvel movies. But again, I'm no longer here to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. I am here on a scorched earth campaign against the whale.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think this is funny because you're bringing up these two movies next to each other really puts to light what for me my primary factor is in determining one of my worst movies of the year, and that is the relationship between what was the filmmaker's intent and how far did they miss the mark. Like with Thor: Love and Thunder, it's just a silly, stupid, kind of annoying romp, and like I think that's what they intended. So, and
Sucks because I think
I
yeah,
expected
it just
that going
sucks.
in. So yeah,
It just
I
sucks.
just
It-
oh, go ahead, Justin.
It just sucks
Sorry.
because no. I'll just say real quick. It just sucks because I think Marvel has kind of sacrificed quite a bit of character
yeah,
in their franchising.
yeah.
Because like I think why I think why people are drawn and why I'm drawn to the Scarlet Witch is because she's lost stuff. There's drama that hangs over her.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would have said the same about Iron Man back with Age of Ultron, but he just kind of brushes off the Age of Ultron stuff. There's a little bit of repercussions in Civil War, but like I think Tony Stark as a character kind of loses like some weight as the movies go on, to a point. And I think, you know, the sacrifice of kind of drama and emotion and kind of character growth in Thor is a complete misfire
Mm-hmm.
in favor of jokes, which
Yeah.
yeah.
is, you know,
a-
unfortunate.
And I think the reason that the Marvel movies have worked for so long is because they have always found a way to toe that line of like, how do we include the self-referential humor, but when we have to be serious, there is still a heart at the core of our story that like works for and affects people.
Mhm.
And that is what I think Love and Thunder is missing. And the reason I like the Scarlet Witch so much is that part where she shows up behind that guy and she just goes, "Run," and he fucking runs because that rips.
Multiverse of
Anyways,
Madness fucking rips. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Good stuff.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Alright.
Was in my top 10 for a lot of the year.
If Multiverse of Madness was bad, it would not knock Lightyear out of my top 10.
No.
All right, are we on number 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 8, kind of going back to middling to, you know, pretty average. It's The Gray Man. Just mostly because
Yeah.
the fucking Russo brothers, man, they need to fucking take them out to a field and just, you know,
Oh no.
you know what I
Take
mean?
care of it.
Oh no.
Take care of it. You know what I mean? I'm just so tired of them. They just
Yeah.
are trying to like franchise everything and trying to like find something to like. I don't know. They seem like they seem like they have no identity as filmmakers. They go and make
Yeah.
Cherry, which is like a Martin Scorsese knockoff. That feels very weird. I think they made a movie called 21 Bridges, which I didn't get around to with Anthony Mackie, I think. Or no, maybe Dan. I'm sorry,
No, it was
maybe
Chadwick.
Chadwick. I'm
Chadwick
sorry, it was
Boseman.
Chadwick. Sorry, Chadwick. And I haven't heard anything about that movie. And then I watched The Gray Man because the thing here is like there are certain actors where I'll go and watch the movies that they're in because I think they're actors worth watching and whatever projects they pick are worth checking out. And so in this case, Ryan Gosling's leading this. And I'm like, well, if Ryan Gosling's leading it, he's got to see something of value in here. And I was watching, I was like, this is just kind of boring. And it's very unfortunate because I think Ryan Gosling, for like the last 15 years, has picked pretty interesting roles. And if the roles aren't like, you know, if maybe not interesting roles, but interesting projects, because sometimes he does that whole kind of like silent tough guy kind of deal thing, which I like, and if it works for the character, then I'm all here for it, because like, you know, like I like the intention, the characterization of him in Blade Runner 2049 and Drive, but with this, it's just he's just I don't know. It's there's not much there for his character. There's not much there for the other characters. Chris Evans is, he's playing that bad guy from Scott Pilgrim with a
Yeah.
mustache, you know. It's fine. It's a movie that, you know, there's a movie that I'd seen at SIFF years ago called The Hollow One, and I remember I remember it being pretty fucking horrible. And the directors were talking about their 4 other sequels that they wanted to do. And I'm like, don't
Oh.
think about the sequels before you have a first successful film. Like, so it's like it reminds me of this, where it's like it's a franchise where they're more interested in the sequels than they are in, you know, the first thing, you know. So
Mhm.
I don't have much to say about it. Gray Man is kind of fucking bland, and Dunzo. I don't know. Don't like it.
Yep. I watched it and I don't remember anything about it.
This is not the last time Ana de Armas is on this list.
Oh, I
will
can
say
imagine.
that.
I know where you're going with that.
And-
She will appear a couple more times.
In a year where
Oh,
I watched
okay.
101 movies, I watched 17 minutes of The Gray Man and shut it off because I got so bored.
It's fucking boring, man.
Yeah,
It's rough.
it's
I
really
think
dull.
it tries to have like a 1990s kind of action thrill to it, but if you're gonna do that, you gotta go all the way with the action because there's so many CGI set pieces. Like there's one with a train that feels very boring, and I'm just like, man, if you're gonna do like old school blockbuster filmmaking, give me you got to do practical effects. You got to do that
And
because
it's-
that's
And it's like, don't release a movie with the big train sequence the same year Bullet Train comes out. If you're gonna come for the king,
true.
fucking watch out.
Yeah.
Okay, the
So that's
Gray
my
Man.
number 8, the Gray Man.
Yep. It was a piece of shit. I can't say I remember anything about it at all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, oh baby, we got a big one. One of the biggest
Love and
movies of the year from one of the biggest franchises of all time.
It's runny diarrhea.
That's exactly right, and it's also Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna get some water because I'm gonna have more to say about this later.
Okay,
Me
good.
too.
But
Okay.
but go off, King.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all gonna talk about it, I'll just like read a few excerpts from my review. I guess I think it seems
Mhm.
like the world has agreed this movie fucking sucks ass. What's his name? Chris
That's
Pratt.
good, Nick.
Chris
Sorry.
Pratt. Chris Pratt's lead character, Owen. Owen is such a stupid character, silently conservative cowboy wrangler. At least this iteration is just exceptionally boring as opposed to his mildly sexist prior performance.
I like at any points you just like no matter like what Chris Pratt's playing, you're just gonna be like just mildly conservative Mario.
yeah.
You know, I just feel
Yeah.
like now he just oozes that in his roles.
Yeah, you Mario. He was giving off those
Yeah,
mildly conservative vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario's gonna be like, "It's a me defending my land."
Oh
Low-key, though,
god.
With his AR-15.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Low key though, just to talk about Chris Pratt for a hot second.
Yeah.
When I was watching the Avatar movie, the trailer for the Mario movie was on with 3D. I saw in 3D, and man, I can't wait for Mario. It's gonna be so fun.
It is.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I think everything outside of
Yeah.
Chris Pratt in that movie is actually gonna be like fucking great. Anyway,
It
like
will,
the part-
it will not be mildly conservative.
I
no.
like the part in the Mario movie
Gotti.
trailer where Mario stomps out a Mar bread and goes, "It's a me." It fucking rules.
It's so good.
Okay.
No
His
discernible
Wahoo's pretty good
accent.
though. His
His Wahoo's pretty good. We
his
talked about
Wahoo's
this.
pretty
He
Yeah.
gets by.
I don't know yet with him. I think you got to give him a little bit more time as
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah.
Charlie Day as Luigi, I'm not buying yet. I think
Oh,
that one's
really?
bad.
Jack
I
Black
totally
is-
buy
It's
it.
only because
Jack Black is-
only because he's not doing anything. At least Chris
Mhm.
Pratt's kind of doing something. It's Charlie Day being Charlie Day. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Black as Bowser though.
Fucking-
rock hard.
fucking
Here
awesome.
for it.
amazing. He's doing a voice. He's into it. I love it. He's
Yeah,
great.
that was
Yeah.
a great casting choice. I'm so glad they did that.
Mhm.
Anyway, back to this piece of shit.
Yeah.
So at one point, Owen's character is pinned between two T-Rexes, and he just literally holds up his palms, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
that fucking stops them. Jurassic World Dominion brings this franchise to a catastrophically laughable ending, claiming to pose the biggest threat to date while presenting the lowest stakes by far. Dinosaurs will officially not be cool again for probably another couple decades thanks to this single movie. And I really stand by that. I think dinosaurs are out now for a while.
Look at all those chickens.
There's a part in the movie. This is just part of my review. I had to write it down. Laura Dern literally says he slid into my DMs.
Oh my god,
Like,
dude!
that's
I
just the-
fucking wanted to blow my brains out during that line. I was like, "You did not have fucking Laura Dern's Ellie Sattler say that in a Jurassic Park film." Oh
Yeah.
my god, I wanted to fucking blow my brains out right there and then.
There's a scene at the end where two big dinos are dueling each other to the death, and like there are 10 fucking human characters that are just like scrambling around at the toes of these gargantuan monsters, and not a single one of them like gets clobbered or stomped. It's like you had a perfect opportunity to like kill Jeff Goldblum and give him an emotional like death scene or something, but it's like 10 characters are literally at the feet of two gigantic dinosaurs, and like they're just fine. They all survive.
them-
It's like what the
One of them's
fuck?
fucking crazy. They got fucking crazy Edward Scissorhand claws too.
Yeah.
Like what the
Here's-
fuck?
Here's my question though, Nick. If you had that exact same movie and nothing else was changed, but they killed Jeff Goldblum's character, do you really think they would have done that in an effective way that
No.
you would have had an emotional response to?
You
No.
would have hated it more.
But it would have.
Yeah, you would have been like, and then they had the audacity to kill Jeff Goldblum.
That's true. That's true. But at least it would have been like a decision. This is just like a movie that just had no guts, no balls whatsoever. There were just no decisions.
agree.
And especially I'd say that's really the most prominent in Campbell Scott, who plays the villain of the movie.
Oh,
This is
do not get me started.
Dude, this is one of the most, and I
Right.
really mean this, like one of the most pathetic villains I have ever seen in any movie. He's so timid and flat and boring, and it's like there are parts where he's like trying to like flirt with Laura Dern's character or something, and it's like but it's not translating at all. It's like what in the fuck is this
I
performance?
don't get it. I don't get it at
I-
all. I don't get like I do not understand. Like he's kind of he's like being socially awkward too. And,
Yeah.
like what's the what is the point of this? Are you just trying to
Oh my god.
rag on fucking billionaires being awkward? But like it has no purpose. There's no purpose there.
Oh God,
It
I
is-
think
it
you
is
might
literally-
be right.
It is literally one
Guys.
of the worst performances I have ever seen this year.
Yeah.
Like what the
Guys,
fuck?
Guys, what about the part where they're in a giant plane and they just crash into the ice and then they cut in and they're just like, yeah, they're good. They're fine.
Yeah.
No problem. They crashed into the ice going 120 miles an hour. They're chilling. Everyone's
I-
fine.
I honest to God think that people are always like, oh, Colin Trevorrow should have done episode 9. He should have done in Duel of the Fates. If he had done episode 9, that probably would have been as bad, if not worse, than Rise of Skywalker. I think Rise of Skywalker is probably better than whatever Colin Trevorrow comes up with, because Colin Trevorrow is such a terrible fucking filmmaker. And I don't care. Like, I love Jurassic World, but
Mhm.
that thing kind of writes itself. Book of Henry and this thing are very telling to me as him being a bad crybaby filmmaker.
Specifically a
forgot-
crybaby.
He is a crybaby. The guy's a crybaby.
Is he? What is?
Oh,
like,
woe
wait,
is
has
me.
he? Did he do that stuff
He's
like
a
with the
woe
bad
is
movies?
me kind of guy. I'm a
Oh.
no one gets the Book of Henry.
Oh,
I lost
okay.
Star
Truly-
Wars.
Oh,
I'm
woe is
truly
me.
on the
fuck that.
I'm truly
He's a
on
little
the
bitch
Twitch
boy.
watching this movie, this trailer, and I am like remembering this movie in media res because I've fully forgotten everything about it.
Yeah, it's not memorable. Like also like the reason people go to this franchise is for the fucking dino scenes, and it's no dino scenes. It's just
There's
bugs.
that's bug. I'll get to it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Me
done.
and Ju-
I'm done.
Me
Let's
and
move
Justin
on.
are going to talk about
We're
this
gonna
later.
we're gonna spend way too much time talking about this, so let's move on.
All right. My number 8. Speaking of bland-looking action movies starring a Marvel alum, my number 8 is Uncharted.
Yes, I'm
Uh,
so glad we get to talk about this.
With Marky Mark,
Yeah,
and not
it's-
so much the Funky Bunch.
one of the fundamental problems with Uncharted is like if you play the Uncharted games, the character that Mark Wahlberg is supposed to be playing is supposed to be like a gray-haired 65-year-old man
Yeah.
that's just like a crusty dude who's laid in the sun too long. And then you get to this movie and Marky Mark is like, what are you talking about? I'm still 30. What are you fucking talking about? And then it's like the whole movie is just him and Tom Holland competing for like who gets to be like the funny, cool one. And you're like, what the fuck is this? like, what am I watching? And it's like, I think there are I think the last set piece of the movie is actually like quietly kind of cool, but the movie's just a disaster other than that. It's like the set piece at the end of the movie is like these two helicopters fly out these two giant old crashed pirate ships while like the two of them are on them, and they like have a fight in the sky in these two flying pirate ships as they're flying through the air. It's kind of cool, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you've just got like Tom Holland doing the Tom Holland thing,
Yeah.
which isn't really working because his
No.
character like desperately needs to have charisma in a way that Tom Holland doesn't.
Yep.
It's a weird movie. It's also deeply badly written.
Mm-hmm.
Every other line is one of the three main characters talking about how they don't trust people. And it's like every third line of the movie is somebody going, "You can't trust anybody in this business," for like an hour and 47 minutes. It's crazy. I don't know. It's a bad movie. I don't have that much to say.
Yeah,
But
there's really very little to say. For me, the biggest point of disappointment is that like Tom Holland's energy just as a human being is so fucking antithetical to everything about Nathan Drake. Oh, I wanted to say, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's like a 10-15 minute Uncharted short film on YouTube that stars Nathan Fillion.
I heard that's really
It's
good.
fucking great. It captures like, and it's
no,
like,
but that sounds like great casting.
it's just, yeah, it's just so obvious that like Nathan Fillion, it's such a wonderful fit. He has the facial expressions,
Well, I
the
mean,
delivery.
the character's based on him.
Wait, oh, Nathan
that-
Drake was
that
based
was-
on Nathan Fillion?
Nathan Drake was. I don't think
Well,
they
duh,
like
they're
pulled
both
Nathan.
named Nathan, you idiot.
I don't think they pulled Nathan Fillion in to model him, but the like initial character, they were basically based it off of Nathan Fillion.
Okay, I mean that makes perfect sense. Yeah, if you haven't watched that
So
short
that
film,
casting
go
makes
watch
a
it.
lot of sense.
Yeah,
Nathan Fillion's always the bridesmaid and never the bride.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's true. What the fuck is up with that?
I rewatched Slither a few days ago. He's so fucking good in that movie.
He's great. He's underrated as fuck.
Mhm.
He is.
If I had seen Uncharted, it would have come out
Okay, okay,
Lightyear
okay.
from my mom's.
I
side. I'm just putting it
believe
out there.
that.
I'm just putting it out there. You know.
I don't understand.
I'm just saying.
All right, Justin, number 7.
My number 7, making her way back onto this list.
Oh, good.
For her second appearance is Ana de Armas's Blonde.
Yeah, I didn't see this, but I
Yikes.
heard so much about how awful it is.
Yeah, yikes on trikes. Let me tell you. So it's tough here. So like, Blonde is following a fictional account of Marilyn Monroe, and it seems like I'm just pulling up my review here because I'm trying to remember exactly, because I had a pretty intricate and long review about how I felt about the movie, and I think the thing that I thought Andrew Dominic was interested in was more of the abuse of women than he was in like the how if he wanted to make a movie about an actor who rose to stardom and was going through abuse and kind of like the gross nature of Hollywood, I would have preferred it not to have been about Marilyn Monroe. I'm sure some of these accounts that they mention are true, 100%. But I know that there are accounts that are exaggerated to an extreme point, and only do so in a way that expedite the movie's themes in terms of violence to women. And I think he's more interested in hanging in that violence and hanging in that area than he is exploring the character himself. Like, he would rather see the character go through just loops of just torture and whatnot. And literally every fucking time she gets fucking hit with something or pushed against something, she goes, "Daddy, daddy,
What
daddy," and I'm like,
what the
"Stop the."
fuck? What?
Yeah, it's fucked
Oh
because there's like
god.
some
What?
there's some father issues that because her father was it's very Lynchian in a weird way too, like an Elephant Man kind of way. But I think Elephant Man in terms of like how it handles like the depiction of a man who is kind of an outcast of society and isn't and just wants to find love in others.
Hmm.
And his kind of search to find the love that his mother gave him, or I think I think that's what Andrew Dominic was trying to echo with, like, there's this portrait of Marilyn Monroe's father. um she never met her father, but she always assumed, always believed that her father was a nice man, a good man. So
Hmm.
I think, in instances of violence, she just, whatever for whatever reason, she just refers to the men that she clings on to as her father, her daddy.
Oh
What the
god.
So it's
fuck?
very gross. It's very like I honestly, like, I think Ana de Armas is fine. I don't think she's remarkable, as everyone has been saying. Like,
Uh-huh.
I know Colin Farrell praised her during the Golden Globes, but I'm like, listen,
Hmm.
man, you're shooting your shot. I get it, but like, good lord. Um, I think it looks great. They
Okay.
go out their way to recreate iconic imagery from Marilyn Monroe's life,
That's
but
nice.
I guess but it doesn't really, like, like, what is that, like, you stress that this isn't a real story about Marilyn Monroe, but then you go and recreate images from her life painstakingly, accurate. So what are you trying to say here? Are you trying to say, it's just like I get mixed messages from this
Mhm.
movie. The last hour is just, fucking torture porn fantasy. It's fucking awful,
Jesus
man, and
Christ.
grotesque. It's got like a weird kind of like, I don't think it's the intention, but it does read as anti-abortion in a lot of ways too.
Oh.
Um,
Hmm.
it's pretty fucking gross all around, and
Okay.
with it looking spectacular, I can't fault it for that, but like I can fault it for everything else. I think it's dangerously executed. I think it was poorly made, and it's way too fucking long. It's like 3 hours, and it's like
God damn.
just Marilyn Monroe being abused for 3 hours, and it does this annoying thing where I can forgive a film changing its aspect ratios for story purposes. I don't know what the fuck it was doing in terms of like it kept changing aspect ratios so much. And like, what is this telling me on a thematic level? Like, what is going on here? Like, I don't get it.
Hmm.
It's
So
bad. I hate it.
just out of curiosity, because I didn't watch Blonde,
Blonde.
because I was like, I don't have another, like, I can't fit a fifth 3 hour long movie into my life that is
Yeah.
apparently bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, because I've heard this from some people, do you feel like this movie would still be in your bottom 10 had it not been about Marilyn Monroe? Had the whole
Mm.
movie played out the same,
If it was just like
but
a general portrayal of like abuse of
Well,
women.
and that's what I'm saying at the beginning of my
yeah,
review for
that's what
this
I'm
too. Like, I
that's what
think
I'm curious about.
I
Oh, go
think
ahead.
no, you're good. I think it being about Marilyn Monroe does play a heavy thing on it. But I still think, what's the movie trying to say, like, outside of, just men are bad and Hollywood's bad. It's just it's 3 hours of that. It's not really exploring anything else other than just
Yeah.
victimizing this person, whether it's someone we know from iconography or whether it's like a completely new character. It's just victimizing the whole time. It's not really exploring it's not really exploring anything other than here is someone that got into show business, got fucked a fuck ton of times, and then died.
Hmm.
Like, You know, what's
Wow.
it saying? The movie's not saying anything at all. Like, if I was to say, like, again, comparing it to Elephant Man, you know, at the end of the movie, like at the beginning of the movie, he feels abandoned and alone and fucking tossed aside. At the end of the movie, he feels loved. He feels welcome. You
Yeah.
know, like it's called character growth, not fucking victimizing for the sake of your torture porn.
Yeah.
Get real, Andrew Dominic, you fucking New Zealand cunt. Anyway.
Fuck off, Dominic. Fuck off.
No, I think
Wow.
he's just interested in that stuff more than anything else. Like the guys wanted to make this
fucking-
movie for like 12 plus years, and
Mm.
I just don't see like
What
I don't s-
he was
yeah, what-
actually contributing.
yeah, and I don't. And there's a really good interview with him, and I forget what I think maybe been with Vanity Fair, maybe it was with someone else, but he just kind of glosses over the points of like what does this mean for like women in Hollywood victimizing and all this stuff. He just kind of like barrels through it, and it's like kind of like revealing in terms of like what he just wanted to make kind of like a torture porn movie. I think at the end of the day, so.
Yeah, that sounds fucked up, man. Fuck
Yeah,
that
it
shit.
came in a little hot there, but I
No,
just
no.
think like it's. I
No.
think that movie's just pretty bad all around.
Well, I just noticed actually, I'm seeing on the trailer at the bottom, it says it is rated NC-17, which is
oh yes,
incredibly
and
unusual.
They push that. They push
Oh
it real
my
hard.
god, really? Like that's
Well,
a
in terms of
selling
marketing.
point? Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
that was a selling
the
point for the
movie-
movie?
The movie itself is pretty.
What the fuck?
I would say the movie itself is pretty tame for an NC-17. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I could point out to 2 scenes where you could be like, yeah, it's NC-17.
No,
Maybe even one.
But
scene.
but the fact that it was but that was part
Yeah.
of the marketing.
No,
is like to
it's
say,
100%
oh,
an
our
edgelord
movie
move.
is so
It's
intense.
an edgelord. Yeah, no, it's an
Yeah.
edgelord move. Yeah,
That's
100%.
oh wow, that's despicable. What the fuck? Holy
Great
shit.
trailer.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Let's not give Mr. Dominic any more of our attention. He doesn't deserve it. My number 7
definitely
movie.
worse than Lightyear.
Yes.
Nice.
I get that impression pretty clearly.
Just putting it out there.
Okay. Well, that's good that Lightyear was at least better than that.
Yeah, I'll
My
give Lightyear that.
number 7 worst movie of the year is a cute little movie called Dog.
Oh, I watched this on the plane.
Yeah.
I fell asleep.
So this
Dog bad.
So this is by no means like one of the most actively bad movies of the year, like by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it has very problematic portrayals of like how it displays our of how our military service people should just like bow their heads and not question anything and give their bodies and give their lives no matter how awful or fucked their situation is. And on the one hand, like it's hard. I can't not get political about this because like on the one hand, I fully recognize that there are a lot of areas of our country that are so severely impoverished, and like there's just no way for people to, there's no education system, there's no like healthcare access, there's no way
Yeah.
for people to advance, and the only like literally the only way that people can get ahead in life is to join the military. And like for those individuals, I think that's probably a wonderful thing. I've heard a lot of people, like I've watched interviews on YouTube of people who they don't like the military, they don't agree with it, but that the military saved their lives because they had access once they got through their program. And it's, you know, it's just the nature of our reality that sucks really bad. But what I really hate about this movie is that there are kind of like several scenes where the messaging is that like, hey, even if the military fucks you over and even if your body is broken and even if you like lose your limbs, you just suck it up, okay? The military's doing you a good job, okay? You just sit there and take it, okay? And the fact that the whole idea that the dog is the central focus of this movie, it really feels like it's like a desperate ploy for the military to just kind of like really in a really ugly way manipulate viewers to go to their recruiter and like sign up. And you know, again, it's a slippery slope because if people have no other means to advance in their life, then you know that's what you got to do. And I support those individuals. But the way this is presented, it's just really gross, and it inadvertently highlights a lot of like the problems that individual people who are impoverished have with the military. And there are people who go through the military and they do well for themselves, but there are a lot of fucking people who go through training and they don't even like go to see any like don't even like get like sent overseas or anything. They're going on a mission. They just get their bodies broken through the training process, and then the military just fucking dumps them. And then they have like maybe a couple years of like unemployment that they get paid, and then that's it. And then their lives are ruined and over, and they have no way to go forward, and they've just been discarded, and it's fucking awful. And I think this movie as like a propaganda tool, I don't know if I'm sure it was. I can only imagine this had huge, probably majority military funding that it got made. The messaging is really gross. There's one scene in particular where Channing Tatum's character goes on some blind dates. Do you guys remember this scene? It's
I
like
was asleep on the plane.
Okay, that's good. It's like a 2-minute scene where Channing Tatum goes on some blind dates, and it's like a montage of different women rejecting him, and they show up and they think he's cute, and they're like, oh, he's hot, I'm getting into this guy. And then they're like, so what do you do? And he's like, I'm a soldier. And then they're like, oh, ew. And then they all ditch him because he's a soldier. And it's like, it's so clear that the writer or director or whoever came up with this concept are trying to portray that like, oh man, fucking people just don't get it. People just don't understand that being a soldier is so important and it's so necessary. And by all means, we do need a military. It could use a lot less funding, but we do need a military. I'm not saying we should just, fucking discard the whole sector of the world as it is. But I think
Turn the frogs gay.
Yeah, the way this movie utilizes its own like, cute dog. Oh, this guy has friends in the military, but they're all broken and battered, and they just kind of have to suck it up and die, I guess. That's just the way it is. It's like, no, like even in reality, and I think the fucked up part about it is that in reality, even for those individuals who go through the system and get broken and have their lives ruined, the military has more than enough monetary resources to help them for the rest of their lives, and they fucking choose not to do it. They just choose not to help these people. And I think this movie is a really gross lie, and it's just kind of trying to, I don't know. On one hand, I feel like it's kind of maybe catered toward like people who have PTSD, and like a lot of people have PTSD support animals, that type of thing. And I think that aspect of it is really great, but there's this really like conniving underlying just like propagandic tool to it that I find really upsetting. So that's my most political movie by far. I will not be talking about politics for the rest of the stream.
So you're saying it's mildly conservative?
Sure. Yeah.
You're saying the star of this movie should have been CP.
Wait, I can't. I can't figure out.
Oh
who
yeah,
CP
because
is.
because he doesn't go by that anymore.
Who? Wait,
He
who
doesn't
is
like
CP?
to be called Chris Pratt.
Yeah, don't
oh
don't
my
call him
god!
Chris.
Yes,
don't call him Chris.
dude,
Yeah.
that actually would have fit. And wait, is that actually a thing? He doesn't want to be called Chris
yeah,
Pratt
that's
anymore?
actually a
during
thing.
my Mario watch. I did a breaking news about it.
Does he not understand what CP is? I mean, you two
he
know
does
what
not.
CP stands for in terms
Yeah.
of like internet slang, right? Justin,
No.
do you know what CP stands for?
Child pornography.
Child pornography. Like that's not a joke.
Child art.
That's not a joke. That's like actually what it stands for. So I guess all right, he's just a fucking psycho, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, that's
I
my
don't
number
think
7.
he knows. But
No,
yeah,
I don't think he does either.
He's just a fool. Just a child pornography fool. My number 7 of the year is Justin's actual number 10 worst movie of the year.
If I had finished watching Dog, it would have definitely been in my bottom 10 and not Lightyear.
That's great.
Just to put it out there. I wanted to make
Thanks,
sure
man.
that was clear as well.
My number 7 is Justin's actual number 10 worst movie of the year. We're about to spend a little bit of time with everybody's favorite doctor, Michael Morbius.
Oh.
Woohoo! Yes, it's morbing time.
I literally have almost nothing to say about this
I know
movie.
it wasn't that awful. It was just really boring. Like that's it. It was just fucking boring.
Oh, I think it's deeply bad.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's,
I mean, I agree, but like, yeah. Go ahead.
I think that Morbius, this is all I'm going to say. I think that Morbius has the energy of a fake movie that was filmed to play on the TV in the background of an actual movie. And then they were
Oh.
like, I don't know, we filmed most of this movie. Should we just like release it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get good old Michael Morbius. Yeah, Matt Smith is okay. Movie bad.
Yes.
Jared Leto bad. That's all I got.
If I had
yeah.
seen Morbius, it would be my number 10, and not
Yeah.
Lightyear.
All right.
I feel as though if you had seen Morbius, it might have been farther in your bottom 10 than number 10, but it would have booted Lightyear out for sure.
Probably number 6.
Okay.
It's a good number.
It's a damn good number.
All right. I feel content with that review. We covered it perfectly. Moving on. Justin, number 6.
My number 6, Ana de Armas, back at it again.
Oh, Jesus. 2 in a row. Wow.
No, 3. This is her third.
Oh, it is 3 in a
film.
row. Oh my God. Whoa. This is like a. This
And
is.
I didn't intend for it to be.
No,
back to
dude,
back to
this
back
is
like
actually
this.
this has to be a record for our stream. This is like maybe the worst actress. Well, I guess maybe her performances
She's
weren't
like-
as good, but weren't as bad. But like the
No, yeah,
movies were
because
bad.
I like her. I like her in No Time to Die. I like her in Knives Out. Like she is a good actor. I like her in
I
Blade
don't
Runner.
think she's a bad actor. She's just not making great choices right now.
Yep.
I
would
don't
agree.
even know what this movie is.
I think I
Justin.
do. I'm gonna predict it's Dark Water.
Close. Deep
Oh,
Water.
Oh,
that's
thank
right.
you, thank you, Deepwater. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Deepwater, the Gone
I
Girl
watched-
knockoff that happens to get Ben Affleck as well, which
I
I'm like
know.
an interesting choice. Shelby read the book of this. I think Shelby liked the book.
Mhm.
I'd have to ask her about it, but kind of weird, kind of fucked up, kind of boring as well. The mystery, it's kind of it's a murder mystery. It has like, you kind of figure it out pretty early, but you don't think it's gonna. You think you're like, oh, that's not gonna be the reveal, and then once it is the reveal, you're like, oh, it's kind of lame.
Yep.
There is a playwright that is a supporting character who is fucking awful in it. What is his name?
Yeah, who was that?
Oh, whoops! I typed up Blonde and not Deepwater. What was his name? Tracy Letts, very popular playwright who is like a supporting character in this and like friend to Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Fucking horrible performance. Like just
Yeah.
so like goofy and like tonally not in line with the goddamn. One thing I really liked about it is that Ben Affleck has like a little snail collection in his garage.
Yeah.
like they're all live and everything, and I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, live it up. And I thought that was a weird thing for a big buff 40-year-old dude to have. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So that was the one thing that I was really kind of invested in. I wish there was more of that. I think I remember Ana de Armas being bad in it. Let me just see if I might pull up my review real quick. See what I said exactly. About
Yeah.
it.
So I watched this and I got like this
No
is-
review.
Oh, okay. This is
No review.
purely subjective. I gave it a 3, but purely like I enjoyed it, but it is not a good movie by any means. I enjoyed hate watching it quite a bit. I agree with everything you've said. I think the most kind of compelling in a bad way thing about it is that our 2 lead characters, I would actually say their performances for what they're given are pretty decent, but the characters themselves are like the
bad, yeah.
most infuriating, insufferable, like hateable characters I've seen in years. Like it's just this miserable marriage where they're both trying to out misery one another like at every turn. And it was like making my blood fucking boil just how awful they are to each other. So I enjoyed it for what it is, but yeah, it is a piece of shit for sure.
It's rough, dude.
Yeah.
It is rough. Yeah, I don't have much for Deepwater. It's bad. Don't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my last Ana de Armas film.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, I think that's a record.
Tragic.
No, she's out just now.
I think that's a record for our.
Pretty buck wild, let me
Podcasts.
tell you.
All right. Well, we're gonna do another movie, another repeat here. The biggest meme of the year, Morbius again, baby.
Morbius, not good movie.
So I'm not even going to say anything in review. I just want to point out that audiences gaslit the studio into re-releasing this movie.
into re-releasing it. I
And
know.
that is one
Pretty
of
good.
the greatest things that has ever happened in cinema history, is that the producers
Pretty good.
fell so hard for the memification
Well,
of Jared Leto that
yeah.
they were like, "Oh, people love this." And I mean, in that regard, in the memification of it, yeah, we did love it. But the fact that it's such a perfect like portrayal of how and why a lot of top Hollywood execs are just fucking clueless. Like, even though they have all this money and all this power and the ability to put movies back into theaters, like, they just have no fucking idea what they're doing. They're so out of touch a lot of the time. And this is going to be like one of the all-time greatest examples of that cultural phenomenon. I loved watching that whole thing happen. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was really funny.
But I mean, yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. Honestly, like, I didn't really hate this movie at all. I was just really fucking bored. I was just so bored the whole time. It was just like the most cookie cutter, cardboard cutout, thoughtless, uninspired kind of schlock there can be. So, yeah, not much to say about that. And that's more.
If I had watched Morbius, it would knock Lightyear out of my
Yeah,
bottom
it
10.
would. All right, Matt, number 6. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
some more water. BRB, you guys can keep
Just,
talking.
just want to, stress that.
Wait, what were you trying to stress? If you had
Well,
watched Morbius,
if I had watched Morbius, it would be in my bottom 10, and Lightyear would not be in my bottom 10. And
wait,
I just want to make sure that's
I
clear.
don't know if I'm grasping this. Hold on.
Are you not grasping it? I just want to make sure, like, sometimes you make a bad film, sometimes you make a good film, and sometimes I think, some films aren't deserving to be in the bottom 10 list, like Lightyear, because if I had seen Morbius, Lightyear would not be in my bottom 10.
Yeah, we know.
Okay,
No,
I'm just
not really
stressing it.
processing this. Okay. My number 6 worst movie of the year is the Netflix reimagining of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I was so back and forth watching this thing.
Yeah.
I
me
didn't get
too.
Did you
around
watch
to it.
it?
Oh,
No,
Oh yeah, it's bad.
I did watch
I watched
it.
a better I watched a better remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I'll talk about later.
Interesting. Oh, I know what you're talking about. We will
Yeah.
talk about that later.
Mhm.
Yeah, this movie fucking sucks butt. It's bad. It's a bad movie. I just saw a review from a host of a podcast that I listened to, and he gave it 1 star and just said horrid. It's bad. It's like influencers basically go in and buy this entire like impoverished Texas town to turn it into like an artist's haven,
Yeah.
and they like kick this like Texas family out of their home that they've been like squatting in, and in the process of it, it's like a dad and a mom and their adult son, and the mom like dies of a heart attack, and the adult son is Leatherface, and he starts he be chainsawing. Oh, but then they try to do the 2018 Halloween thing where the lady from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes back halfway through. It's awful. It's bad. I don't really remember that much about it.
And the worst part too, it's not even the original actress, because the original actress has passed away. So
yeah, it's just somebody
it's just legacy character
with the yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad. And it's not like fun bad. It's just bad.
I
Yeah.
escaped him 40 years ago, and this time I'm gonna fuck him up now.
But it does have the girl from 8th grade in it, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, I did see this. Not It wasn't hateable.
You did watch it.
Yes, yes. It was just really middling for me. I didn't hate it, but like I agree with everything you say. It was like the big thing for me is I couldn't tell in terms of the writing. Like, it really felt like the writers were trying to say something politically in terms of like the young people, buying this town, and it kind of came across as like an unnecessary like libertarian viewpoint that just pervades the first act. And I think they were just so I think they just missed the mark so badly that's just my kind of projection of it. Like I don't think they had any idea what they were
No, but
actually
I
trying to
also
say.
I also don't think you're wrong that the movie very much does feel like it's like, oh, like it's bad that these people are trying to buy this town and do this and they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel like they're like, yeah, these fucking morons. Like
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that helped put it in. Give me some what you just said. Gave me some clarity on it from what I remember. Is that like none of the young people, from what I remember, are like hateable or bad, selfish characters. But I got the feeling that like the director, writer, or whoever was trying to get a message across was trying to say like, God, look at these stupid fucking kids doing this stupid shit. Isn't it stupid that kids want to purchase a town and remake it for something like peaceful and like that could have like some kind of wonderful community? Isn't it
Yeah.
stupid and dumb and ignorant of these
It
fucking
was
young
like,
people
look at
trying to make
it
the
was like,
world a
look
better
at the
place?
privilege. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But the messaging was so unclear and so hackneyed that it's pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of a disaster.
Uh-huh. All right. Should we go to number 5?
Or no,
Or
it's yes, sorry.
Well,
all
before we
good.
continue too, I just want to mention that had I seen the
okay.
Texas Chainsaw, I'm just listen. I don't think I want to make sure that it's stressed and known that I think had I seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it would be in my bottom 10 and would knock out Lightyear out of my number 10 spot. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Justin, I just want you to do one of these where you're like, had I seen that, it would be in my top 10 and Lightyear would remain in my bottom 10.
Night's still young.
Justin,
Night's still young, baby.
number 5.
Are we there? Oh shit.
Yeah.
My number 5. This is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Olivia Wilde's
Ooh.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, baby.
So I remember when this was announced, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds fucking dope."
Yeah.
And I liked Booksmart a lot, and I think Olivia Wilde could be a great filmmaker. And then things came out and everything, and I was like, "Oh boy." And then, not that like a lot of things that came, like the onset drama stuff was kind of irrelevant outside of like maybe a few scenes that they were in together, between Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde. It didn't really tamper my taste. My taste for the film was more based on the trailers, where I'm like, "Oh, this feels pretty telegraphic with what they're trying to express here with the movie." Like it feels like, you know what's going to happen. And sure enough, 20 minutes in the movie, you pretty much know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And even the reveal itself is pretty much exactly what you expect, but it's worse too. And I thought it was a very shallow expression on feminism, and I thought it was a very shallow expression on toxic masculinity and um the ideal kind of like, using kind of like this 1950s ideal time period setting as a kind of, I don't know, trivial kind of scapegoats like expression on those themes, and I thought it was pretty bad and getting that across. I thought Florence Pugh was fine, but I definitely feel like she was phoning it in, and I think, of course, that's with elements around her in play. I think Harry Styles is bad, but I don't think he's like that's worst performance of the year, but he is acting, you know. Um, I think there are some nice moments with the visuals. Like there's one with Florence Pugh, or I think maybe Olivia Wilde, running their finger through like the miniature of the town. Um, it's kind of boring to watch because once you know, like once you kind of figure out what's happening early on, it doesn't really explore anything unique or interesting or thoughtful. And even when another character starts to Chris Evans' character, sorry, Chris Pine's character, um, starts to make some moves later on in the film, and I thought they could have gone farther with that, and I thought there could have been more elements that could have played into the more Truman Show element of it. But
You wanted to watch that boy dance for longer.
Oh God.
that scene is
That
kinda
is
funny.
that's the best scene of that movie.
That scene is good. But yeah, no, I don't know. It was just not. I don't know. And then it just kind of stops. It doesn't have an ending. It just is like, oh, okay, cool. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought it was just pretty rough all around. And I definitely wish it was something I would enjoy because it's definitely a concept and has themes that I probably would typically enjoy, but I thought it was handled pretty poorly. So that's don't worry, darling.
Oh yeah. I'm
Uh,
gonna talk more about that later, so I'll save
Yeah,
my
then
thoughts.
then I'm good on the rest then.
Alright.
yeah. I'm not gonna talk more about it later. I thought it was fine. Not
Oh,
that good.
okay.
Not that bad.
Well, that's good.
I had an all right time watching it, and then I was like, well, all right then. I moved on.
I think that is
I don't
also a
understand.
very I think that's also a very fair reaction to a movie like this. Okay. Let's see. My number 5. This is probably my I don't know, my how do I put this? The entry on my list that carries the least amount of weight. Just because like what do you expect? And that is the new Ice Age movie. Adventures
God.
Adventures of Buck Wild. So
I
Is
like
this the
that
last,
you
Is this
say.
the last one, or is this
I
like?
fucking hope so.
No,
Doesn't
this
they
is
do
like
shorts
3.
about like
No,
what's
this
his
is.
nuts?
Oh yeah, the studio closed down, but that was like last year.
So this is a different team and different so
Thi-
it's still going.
This is like the last
dinosaurs
Ice Age movie was
happened.
like
That
the
was the
last
third
Ice
film.
Age movie was like 5 years ago, and Nick found a direct to streaming or direct to DVD some knockoff team doing an Ice Age movie
Yeah.
and watched it in January.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yeah, so
Fucking delightful.
so I mean, I think you can imagine what's
Simon
bad about
Pegg?
So here's the thing. So you can imagine what's bad about this movie just by looking at it and imagining, a fucking Ice Age ripoff, whatever. So what's so funny is every single member of the original voice cast who were present for like the first 4 or 5 movies, they all fucking quit except Simon Pegg. And I just think it's so fucking funny picturing Simon Pegg showing up to the voice booth and there's all these knockoff impressionist voice actors who are doing impressions of his previous castmates, and he's just like, oh fuck, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? Like the voice acting, everything about this is so lazy, just no effort. They even I'm not kidding you, into the fucking Ice Age franchise, they try to shoehorn in a superhero multiverse plotline.
Oh my god.
Like there is, I have it in my review.
Get it in there.
I have it in my review. Holy shit, this is the 6th movie in this series, but the first one where every single member of the cast left except Simon Pegg. The more capable mammal characters in this movie refer to themselves as, quote, superheroes, and the 2 lead characters halfway through decide their goal is to become superheroes. Like, I mean, just talk about, like, not even the lowest effort, but, like, negative effort. Like they're somehow putting in a negative, less than zero amount of effort into coming up with this. Like, oh, I don't really know what we should do. There's a lot of Marvel movies, so I guess we'll just do that. And the whole superhero plot does not come to fruition at all. It's pointless. It's meaningless. This whole thing is obnoxious. It's really ugly too. It is fucking hideous. Like I
Almost like some straight to DVD nonsense team made it and dropped it in Walmart on January 5th.
Yeah. So I mean, I got what I got exactly what I knew I was gonna get. So there you go. My 5th worst movie of the movie of the fucking world is Ice Age Buck Wild. There you go. Matt, number 5. No, it's okay.
So,
You don't have to say it.
You know, if I had time to get around to seeing the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild,
Nice.
I certainly would believe that it would knock Lightyear out of my bottom 10. Just for
I'm glad you're I'm glad you're giving Lightyear the
reference.
benefit of the doubt, man. It's really nice of you.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah. I'm just letting you go.
I love that for you, and I'm so sorry you're going through the existential dread of Lightyear being your number 10 of the bottom 10 of the year.
It's tough out
mine
here. Before
my
you continue, Matt, are you playing Fortnite right now?
I'm not. I was making sure it installed correctly.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
I thought you
I'm
were
not
gaming on
playing
the
it.
side.
Yeah.
No. I'm not gaming on the side.
Okay.
I've got this bad boy open,
Nice.
but I don't want to I don't want to spoil anything.
All right.
My number 5 worst movie of the year is a little indie movie called Montana Story.
What the fuck is that?
It is bad, is what it is. It's like these two estranged siblings. It's a brother and a sister, and it's Haley Lou Richardson is the sister, and then this guy Owen Teague, who is in he's like if you guys remember like It Chapter 1, he's like the older kid that walks into like the sewer with like the spray can and the
Oh.
lighter, and then like the dead kids murder him.
Okay, yeah.
But basically they have like a horrible abusive father who is like now like comatose, like had a stroke and is comatose. But she ran away from home and he stayed, and she like comes back home, and it's just like miserable, like it's completely devoid of joy. Not that a movie has to be joyful to be good, but like just fully devoid of joy. And then it's just the most pretentious writing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh.
There's like a part where
okay.
they walk up to this this like giant hole in the ground, and they're like, wow, look at all the layers of the earth that you can see. And the sister's like, it reminds me of Dante's 7 levels of hell. And me and my buddy who I saw the movie with were like laughing, and we're like, there's no way this movie's like so pretentious. It's going to be like, have you heard of Dante? And then like explain the 7 levels of hell. And then her next line, she went, have you heard of Dante and the 7 levels of hell? And then she went through all of them, level by
no.
level of hell. It was like a 10-minute long
no.
scene. It's just brutal. It's like most things in my bottom, probably all things in my bottom 10. Poorly written, and wastes 2 good actors. But yeah, wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, this sounds fucking miserable. I would never watch this.
Had I
me-
heard about this film, it probably would have been in my bottom 10.
Okay.
And, you know,
If you know.
I'm just
me and
listen, I'm just letting you know.
my
Thanks, man.
Okay, Justin, you'll appreciate this. So, I went to this movie with Marcus because Marcus was like, I desperately want to see this movie. And I was like, all right, fine, dude. And we went, and then like 40 minutes into the movie, Marcus leaned over to me and went, do you want to leave? And I was like, we already paid money. We
Yeah.
we should watch this
You're like
movie.
halfway through at that point if you're 40 minutes in. Just commit.
That's what's so crazy is it wasn't like 10 minutes in he was like this isn't working for me. It was like 40 minutes into the movie he was like this is a fucking bummer. Do you want to leave?
Jesus
I
Christ.
almost I almost left Zoolander too, but I was like, no, Mama didn't raise no bitch. I stay and finish every movie, except for Dog
Yeah.
on the Airplane. Didn't have time to go back and watch it. So.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't
Yeah,
need to watch
and if
that.
you had, I
It's
think it
mildly
would have been in your
conservative.
bottom. If if you had gone back and watched it though, Justin, I think it would have been in your bottom 10 and Lightyear would have been out.
It's runny diarrhea.
That's right.
All right, that's my number 5, baby.
Justin, number 4.
Mine. Oh, okay. My number 4.
My oof.
Yeah, the
This one I'm
pains.
excited to talk. This one I'm excited to talk about. My number 4 is Damien Chazelle's Babylon.
Oh, actually, this was one I also wanted to watch, but I didn't have access to it. So I'm very excited to hear why you hated this.
I think it's just all over the place. It's a movie that's about like it's weird. It's like a love letter to film
Yeah.
at the very end, but the whole time the movie is just showing how grotesque, awful, and monstrous of a black hole Hollywood can be. With showing elements of like, the silent era and how the silent era worked in film and whatnot. Like the whole time it reminded me of Goodfellas a lot, where like you're following these two characters and they're going through these wacky adventures and all this wacky stuff's happening. They fucking it's the problems that I had with Nope, I think are more specific to Babylon.
Okay.
Nope would be a movie I was hard. Nope is a movie I'm hard on.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Nope is something that's stuck with me, and I have thought about more often, probably more often than any other film this year. Then,
Okay. Nice.
and would be a movie I'd consider rewatching. Babylon, I feel it's a movie about spectacle, but it's a movie that also does a poor job in handling those themes of spectacle. Like I think the characters of aside from the lead character, which Diego Calva is his name, I believe. He's fine.
So.
I think he's pretty
I
forgettable.
think he's good.
I think he's good, but I also think he's kind of forgettable as well. Despite him being the lead, oddly enough. I think Margot Robbie is just doing the same bullshit over. Like, honestly, guys, she can't do any other accent. She's always playing some fucking girl from Jersey, and it's the same shit. Like her and Brad Pitt are doing the same shit from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was telling someone the other day, I think it was you, Matt. I was saying like,
Yeah, it was me.
I was like, I would rather rewatch if I had a choice between of rewatching Babylon or only ever watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in Quentin Tarantino's filmography. Like I couldn't ever watch Pulp Fiction or Glorious Bastards again. I would watch Once Upon a Time over and over and over. Like that movie, at least, like that movie has a lot of self-indulgence and pretension in it, but at least I feel that comes from a place of uh of a genuine care. Whereas I think Babylon feels like a place of panic.
Oh,
Because I
interesting.
think Damien Chazelle is kind of a little unsure of what he wants to do with his career.
Okay.
At least that's what I take away from this is I I look at like La La Land and I see a confident filmmaker who's really pushing some elements. Some elements work more than others, but I think for the most part La La Land works. I think First Man is fucking awesome. I
Oh
think
yeah. Yeah.
he does something super different, and that was my favorite film of 2019, I think.
Mhm.
And I loved what he did with that, but people didn't like it. So I think he panicked and went back to the basics. Like, I gotta do loud, spectacular movies about movies. And I think that kind of blew up in his face because I think there's a lot of potty, gross out humor that
Oh.
I think goes really too far.
Okay.
There's a lot of like insufferable characters, whether that's designed or not. I think, the Brad Pitt character in particular, I'm like, you are so annoying. And where he ends up at is like, tragic, but like also I could give two shits about his character. Um Tobey Maguire shows up and he's pretty fun, but
Okay.
he's in it for
Tobey
like 5
Maguire's
minutes.
extremely fun
Yeah, he's
in
he's
that movie.
definitely he's definitely playing up his role, and I appreciate him kind of really doing something out there. But his segment too
He
felt like a poor man's version of the scene in Boogie Nights with Alfred Molina.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Um, and then, the whole time I'm like, this movie's just not really doing it for me. There's a few good scenes, like when they're using sound for the first time, and everyone's got to be very careful about, like it's pretty much people figuring out like, how to work with sound. And there's some interesting moments, but it's all so exaggerated and so kind of nonsensical and doesn't feel period appropriate at all. Like I
Huh.
know it's like you look at Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby is a good example of a movie where that movie is very bombastic and loud and colorful, and it's playing modern music. But that movie feels leagues more in line with its era than Babylon ever does. Babylon
Okay.
has like penis jokes all over.
Mm.
They feel the dialogue feels modern, the acting feels modern. No one feels of the time. Um,
Okay.
and then the ending
Oh really?
is something else. So the whole time,
Interesting.
Huh.
the movie, I'm thinking about another movie while I'm watching, and I'm like, there's a better version of this movie that I've seen before. And the character goes to the theater and watches that movie. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So we're just acknowledging that you guys are pretty much copying this movie.
Oh.
And then it goes a step further. And in the back of my head, I was like, it would be funny, but they would not do this. It would be funny if they did something pretty bonkers.
You can't spoil it for
I'm
him.
not gonna
It's so
spoil it.
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but I would highly recommend. Like, I think Babylon's a bad movie, but I would recommend watching it just to get to the end because the ending is so fucking baffling
Hmm.
and so self-important and so like, oh, look, at the end of the day, no matter even if film destroys your life, we still love the movies, you know? It's I
The
cannot
movies.
the movies. It feels like it feels like something that like an award show would put together. I
Oh.
can't
Okay.
go any further than that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it was pretty fucking incredible. I wish Shelby was filming my reaction when we were watching it at home. And
Hmm.
I'm glad I got a screener of this bad boy.
Just
Babylon,
to
fucking hated it.
Okay.
just to clarify, Nick, just because you haven't seen it, I do not share this aggressively negative view of Babylon. I
Mhm.
don't. I think it's like I had a pretty good time with it. I certainly agree that it's extremely long. It doesn't quite know what it wants to say, and it is a bit of a tonal mess. But I
The
thought it was a fun
soundtrack
ride.
the soundtrack, like the music in the movie is so fucking it's pretty much like almost note for note the same as La La Land. Like La La
It
Land's like
Yeah,
looks like
there's
yeah. It
actually
looks like
like
it would be.
there
so
there
bad.
was a part where I was like, did they just steal the piano riff from City of Stars? Like,
Oh
Yeah.
I'm
no.
pretty sure the piano riff from City of Stars, the like ba 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 ba,
Yeah.
is like in Babylon like several times.
How gross
Wow.
do you have to be to self-reference yourself in that way? Like that's so annoying. Like musically, like did you do be
Uh,
better? Justin Hurwitz, I think, is the composer.
gross enough to start your movie with a big giant joke about elephant poop.
Oh my god, I knew I was in trouble
Oh.
when the elephant poop happened.
That
I was like,
sounds
oh
that sounds
no.
bad.
Yeah,
It was like
it's bad.
it's literally the first sequence of the movie ends with somebody getting like sprayed for 35 seconds straight with elephant poop.
Oh.
And then
great.
immediately the next scene is some bigger gentleman on the ground getting peed on by a woman. And I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? Like
That's right. I forgot about the peeing.
Dude, this whole fucking movie blows chunks.
Yeah.
My dick.
I don't think it blows chunks, but it's something.
You should watch
It's
it.
got an
Nick.
energy
Yeah.
to it. You should watch it, Nick. This is the only reason I chimed in at all was just to be like, don't let this discourage you from watching it, because even if it is a giant mess, it's kind of a fascinating one.
I think
Yeah.
Love it
sometimes
or
Nick
hate it,
Nick
like-
is listen, let me speak for Nick because I know Nick better than Nick knows himself.
Sure.
Yeah,
Now,
this is true.
now
Okay, great.
Now, sometimes when you hype up a bad movie, Nick gets very excited about it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He will then end up
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
Like, people are
That
hyping
is
up
true.
the Smosh movie, and he fucking ate that shit up.
I did know that. I did know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to ask you guys.
What's your
sorry,
weird
this-
movie yet? You haven't had a weird movie where... Oh, no, we haven't got to our best of the year yet.
No, not quite.
What do you
I
mean?
wanna
Are
see
you talking to me?
No, I'm talking about
Oh,
Nick. 'Cause
Nick's-
sometimes he's got that
Yeah, oh,
wild
yeah.
card movie.
Oh yeah.
What was,
I
what was
think
it? The
it's gonna
chef movie? What was it?
Oh
Burned?
my! Sen, you know what? I have not watched that since then, and I really doubt I would feel the same. But dude,
It was
I
his,
had
like
Yeah.
the gambler.
I
The gambler
had
is the same
a
way.
visceral experience in that movie. I think I was just like in the mood for it. You know, like I was precisely in the mood for that type of movie. But again, I've only seen it once, so I don't know. I'd have to watch it again.
No.
Need a rewatch.
It's gonna be Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, I already spoiled it.
That
'cause
was,
I
that was
didn't.
acceptable.
Yeah.
Did you watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Justin?
No, but if I did, it would not be in my top, my bottom 10. And
No, because
Lightyear
it's
would remain.
fucking great.
That it's pretty fun.
Yeah, for what it is. No,
that's
I'm
what I
looking forward to
got.
this. I think Matt, you said it that, and I definitely get the vibe that like this Babylon is a type of movie that you could show in college film courses to be like, why is this bad, or why is this not as like, what is this movie doing wrong? And I feel like you could compare it to a lot of other films as kind of the vibe I'm getting, and it was also kind of the vibe I got from a lot of other Letterboxd reviewers who didn't like it. So I love that
You're
type
in.
of stuff. Like I love going into a movie that has the potential to be like not in just like the case of like, oh, why is like The Room bad? But like, why are movies kind of like more like in a subtle way, like kind of failing at their intent, and just analyzing why bigger movies from previously very successful directors are failing at their intent. I think that's a very fascinating subject to pursue. So yeah, I'm looking forward to analyzing this. I mean, I'm feeling that it'll probably be a pretty mid movie for me from what I know about it and what I know I like. So yeah, but
it feels like
yeah.
it's made.
Yeah.
It feels like it's made by a film fuckboy who spent a lot of time on Tumblr reblogging Drive and like all the other like fucking Tarantino films.
Maybe
out there.
maybe that's what Damien Chazelle was
Do I
doing
need
before
to
he made
pull up-
Whiplash.
do I need to?
He's
pull
a
up
young
your
man,
old
he's a young
Tumblr
man.
before you're popping off.
No, because this is exactly the type of movie I would have made if I was 20.
Oh, okay.
Damien Chazelle's 33, by the way. So
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
He's
I
losing
know.
it. He needs to take
I'm popping
it
off.
sounds like he needs to take a few years off. and,
Justin's
like,
all fucking keyed up.
yeah. Well-
Let's just preface before we move on that if Justin had seen Babylon again, he would have found a way to count it in his bottom 10 twice, and it would have bumped out Lightyear from number 10.
I can see that.
Just to put it out there.
Thank you for that. All right. That was great. That I found that review of yours very fascinating because I know this is a movie that at least Letterboxd tends to like, but I can absolutely see how it would be
It's a
maybe
weird one.
far
I
its
feel like
its
a
own
lot of
ass.
peop- It's weird. I think a lot of people love it or a lot of people don't like it. I'm
Yeah.
more on the side of like I really don't like it, but
Yeah.
I'm in there
Okay.
for different reasons too. So
All right.
Anyway.
I will move things forward here. What is my number 4 movie of the year? Oh. Okay, so same trend as Ice Age Buck Wild. This was another fuck you it's January movie that I knew was going to be horrible. And so I was pretty sure it's going to be in my bottom 10 for you. This was like the fucking like one of the first 5 movies I watched of the year, and it stayed in my
Mhm.
bottom 10 the whole year. God, what is it called? It has a bad title that's like really irrelevant to the subject matter also. This movie is The King's Daughter. Are either of you aware of this?
The King's Daughter.
Why-
Sounds familiar.
So
I'm looking it up now, but is
so
this
this is one of those movies that was in development hell for I'm not exaggerating, like fucking 16 years. Like
The fuck?
I want to say that they started with a script in
Oh, I've
2006.
heard of-
Sounds right.
What the fuck?
The editor completely sucks. Pierce Brosnan is in this, and his performance is very bizarre. It just feels incredibly.
didn't have the budget for the CG, and it took them forever to like get the shitty CG mermaid done.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Anyway, that's my number 4.
Fair.
Baby,
Well, I'm just letting you guys know. You don't need to make fun of me for it, but had I seen The King's Daughter, it probably would have been in my bottom 10 and would have knocked out Lightyear. I'm just saying.
It would have, yeah.
I just want to clarify. I am fully on
Jesus
board,
Christ.
and I am not mocking you at all. I'm on board with this. I agree.
That was a weird one.
My number. That was a weird one. Is that just you going? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that sounded like your voice.
I guess that one's not coming through all the way. That's a bummer.
Look at all those chickens.
We got that one.
That's great.
My number 4 is a movie called The Good House.
What the fuck?
This is a Sigourney Weaver, Kevin Kline movie.
What the fuck are you guys
that,
watching?
Okay, but here's the thing, Justin. This sounds like some nonsense that I found like buried on Peacock. I saw this fucking movie in a theater.
Oh no.
Again at the behest of Marcus, who was like, this movie's absolutely gonna rip. And
Marcus has got
it-
some bad trailer feels. Holy shit.
Yeah. So this movie is doesn't exist, clearly. Me, Mary, and Marcus saw it, and we were the only 3 people in the theater.
Nice.
And we just got to loudly make fun of it the whole time. It's like I will say Kevin Kline is really good in it.
I love
and
Kevin
that is
Kline.
And it's like a reclamation vehicle for Kevin Kline, and it was really good to see him again. That being said, that's the only positive thing I have to say about this movie. It's like this bizarre movie about like Sigourney Weaver's like an alcoholic mom, but then she's also like a psychic, but then she's also like a real estate agent. I don't even know how to explain this movie, but it's Hildy Good, a wry New England realtor and descendant of the Salem witches, who loves her wine and loves her secrets.
Oh, of course.
It's basically like it's just like Sigourney Weaver's character's alcoholism like getting the better of her. But then there's also a part where she like communes with a spirit like fully unironically, and it's
Oh.
not a joke. It's a disaster movie. But yeah, it's bad.
Nice.
I never even saw a trailer for this movie.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
I just pulled up.
What compelled
I just-
Marcus? Was he like, Kevin Kline's gonna fucking kill it?
Okay, what happened, and I can't fully go into detail, but what happened is
Wow.
very early in 2022, me and Marcus saw a movie together on a whim that we both kind of thought was going to be bad and ended up being really great. So great that I will talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
But then Marcus was like, I'm just going to pick these random movies that are having very bizarre little theatrical runs because we got really lucky once.
Oh,
And it was a rough hang.
all right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Had
glad
I
you did that.
seen
Beautiful.
what's this movie? Had I seen The Good
The-
House, it
Uh-huh.
probably would have knocked Lightyear out of the bottom 10. I just want to get in there.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right.
Thank you. I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
I hope you wouldn't have watched The Good House, which has, I guess, an aggregate 3-star rating,
Oh,
but
okay.
seems
72% Rotten
generous.
Tomatoes. It's okay. Doing
It's
okay.
bad.
And maybe it's,
Mary gave this movie a 1-star review, and her review is 2 words: not good.
Nice.
Funny review.
not Lightyear.
Okay.
Not Lightyear.
Justin, take us into
All
the
right.
top 3.
Number 3. This one's gonna be brief, just because I literally have like nothing to say about it. This
Okay.
is Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never seen the original, so we popped that on right before, and I'm like, this movie kind of slaps.
Yeah.
That fucking Jiminy Cricket's horny as shit, though.
Yeah, he is.
Um,
Yeah.
Good time. Then I watched this one, and I'm like, all right, so we're just doing the exact same thing, and man, it's like watching like a parody. It's like an SNL parody of like Tom Hanks doing like Tom Hanks is playing too many like genuinely nice guy roles, where it's to a point where it's parody. you
Yeah,
know?
I agree. I think
he's
he
doing, like,
he
a-
sucks in this. I think he's like legitimately
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, he sucks. They do nothing new with the Pinocchio look,
Mm-hmm.
which I hadn't finished, and I'm super bummed that I didn't get around to finishing this because I was in Spokane in a hotel room, and I was like not wanting to fucking watch a movie, but I was in the middle of watching Guillermo's Pinocchio, and I love the whole uniqueness to
Yeah.
his movie. So I never got around to finishing it, but recommend the 25 minutes that I did watch of it. And I like the take on Pinocchio with that one. This is just, cookie cutter, same old, same old. CGI is bad. The theme and the morals are a little lost because of because of like the more outrageous situations you can put Pinocchio in,
Mm-hmm.
the better, but that loses its themes along the way as well. Bad, not good. And also they don't really even like have like an ending. They just kind of walk off, and it's like, well, doesn't he turn to a real boy? Spoiler alert. They don't really even tell you, and I'm like, well, I want to know.
Yeah, I
if he
can't
did or
remember. I
not.
can't remember how this ends. What happens at the end of this one?
They just walk off. And I'm
Oh,
like,
that's right. They're like in a cave, in like a
Yeah.
beach cave. Oh my god, that's right.
yeah, and they just walk off, and I'm like, oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, it had such an abrupt ending. That was so
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, what
I
the
don't
fuck?
understand how filmmakers like Robert Zemeckis and arguably Tim Burton like go from like making like pretty technical Marvel great story films like Back to the Future and like Beetlejuice and Batman and Who Framed Roger Rabbit to go and have like a bad like last 10-year career. Like it's pretty absurd how much of a jobber Robert Zemeckis feels these days. So
It's runny diarrhea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Heard.
It was very bad. I did
there's a
not like
joke
it.
about poop at one point, and it's a close up of poop. There you go.
All right. Yep.
I don't understand.
It's certainly a movie that came out. A perfect continuation of the Disney
Back
remake
to the Future
lineage.
sucks.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
It
Oh,
has an interesting take for sure.
yeah. Oh, that's
But that
traumatic.
speaks to Robert Zemeckis right now. So
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
my number 3 of the year.
had I seen Pinocchio twice, it would have knocked Lightyear out of my bottom 10.
Thank you for adapting to this bit and extending it as much as possible.
I'm juicing it.
I love it.
All right, my number 3, we already covered it. I'll just give my thoughts briefly. That is Don't Worry, Darling.
Hmm.
And I know, and I think so. Like, it's interesting because Matt, you kind of felt like more like kind of mid to mild on this movie, and I think like on a whole, I absolutely agree. But for me, it's like the disconnect between Olivia Wilde's intent and the final product is like maybe the most jarring I've seen this year, especially. And I think that for me, the all the press tour bullshit really added to it, because the way she was speaking about this movie and the process she went through and what her goals were with like the artistry is like some of the most like up your own ass pretentious just wrongfully minded and also just kind of like childish like takes I've heard in a movie in years. Like I really get the impression that she thought she was kind of making this like wonderful Oscar bait, avant-garde, thoughtful, original idea, but it's like this is literally just the Truman Show, but if it was run by stupid people. Like if the Truman Show universe was run by morons, that's just what this movie is.
Run by like cartoon incels.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that is literally what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, important thing of note: are you guys aware of? So, are you aware of any of the previous writing credits for I think there are 2 siblings called the Van Dyke siblings. Are you aware of what their previous writing credits include?
What?
It includes the not Michael Bay's Transformers, but the straight to VOD ripoff called Transmorphers, which
what the fuck?
yeah, so they went from
Hell yeah.
they went from a straight to VOD DVD ripoff of Transformers to this, and it's just like
Well,
the
yeah.
jump
Kind of
in genre
unreal.
and scale and style is fucking mind-boggling between those two. So
Well, it was
Yeah.
a script on the blacklist, and somebody bought it. Is
Okay.
probably why.
I
It
think
was-
so.
It wasn't like somebody commissioned the Transmorphers gang to write "Don't Worry, Darling." It was like their script
Okay.
blew up on the blacklist, and like they bought it.
Okay, that makes sense. I think Harry Styles is pretty awful in this. I think Nick
Yeah.
Kroll is kind of awful.
Oh, he's bad too. He's bad.
Just so out of place.
Shelby can't get over how I think it's either Florence
okay,
Pugh or Olivia
Shelby-
Wilde. How
Olivia
he's
Wilde.
thrown
It's
across
Olivia
the
Wilde.
car.
I want to speak to this because Shelby like misled me because I read that review before seeing it, and I thought Olivia Wilde was just gonna pick Nick Kroll up and lob him across a lawn, and she just kind of pushes him off the car.
But he
And
goes
I was like-
flying though. He goes flying.
I think he goes flying less than the two of you are
It's
remembering.
pretty aggressive.
I
I have
don't.
the screener. Let me pull it up.
Okay. I don't even remember anything
I
happening.
will-
to him.
I will say just one thing in the defense of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pine is good in it.
Yes.
And I would say Florence Pugh is
I
actually
like-
very good.
And I
we-
think Florence Pugh is good in it.
Yeah, I
we get a
totally
shout
agree
out?
with that.
Any moderators around? Can we get a shout out for Chris Pine?
I mean, Chris
Here you
Pine's
go.
just an absolute gem.
I love Chris Pine, and he is so underappreciated.
Yeah,
I know
he's
Quentin
great.
Tarantino has been on the record on a podcast not too long ago saying he's like one of the best actors of this generation, and I'm like, true, speak King.
Well, yeah.
And
Those. Go ahead, sir.
I think he's great. No. I'm just saying, like, I think Chris Pine is undervalued as an actor.
Yeah, what was that movie where he and his brother
Hey,
were
maybe
like?
that D&D movie's gonna be good.
I
Well-
don't know. What was that movie where Chris Pine and another brother character were like robbing banks or something? Across
Hell or High Water.
Dude,
that
he
was
was-
fucking great.
He was so fucking great in that. So I will always give him props for that. I loved his performance in that one.
Yeah, he's very good. I like him a lot.
I think
Yeah.
I think you would be hard pressed to find even a deeply bad movie that Chris Pine is not great in.
Mm-hmm.
He just is a good actor, and he always fucking comes in hot.
Absolutely. Okay, Matt, number 3.
My number 3 is yet another Peacock original movie
Oh,
for the
good.
crew. My number 3 is Peacock original movie Meet Cute,
Oh,
starring
fuck?
Oh, Shelby watched
Kaylee
this.
Kuko and Pete Davidson.
Oh,
This like is not a real movie. I don't know what I was. It's like has a deeply unhealthy view of depression and suicide. It's it's a time loop movie
oh,
where Kaylee Kuko is purposely putting herself in the same time loop over and over again to try to have the perfect date night with Pete Davidson because they keep hitting it off, but the night keeps not ending the way that she wants it to. But she's like, her character the whole time is like, if I can't get this date to work, I'm going to go jump off the Brooklyn Bridge and kill myself because I
What the f-
hate life.
but is it presented like as a joke or is it like a
Nope.
dramatic it's like a
Nope.
dramatic moment?
Absolutely.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
it's-
Kaylee Kuko's unhinged in it. It's like barely a movie. I don't know. It's terrible. Pete Davidson. I don't know. It's Pete Davidson. You get what you get.
So I'm finding on YouTube when I typed in meet cute.
Didn't run it past him either because
Yeah.
Pete Davidson was an SNL, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty shitty, Matt. Well done.
good shit.
And thank you. Well done. I will never get my time back.
Had I watched this with Shelby,
Mhm.
it probably would have been in my bottom 10 and knock
Uh-huh.
Lightyear out of the goddamn.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Actually, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Justin, number 2.
Number 2, and I'd forgotten this came out this year. My number 2 is a little movie called Men.
Yes.
I
Yes.
fucking hated Men with a fiery passion. I don't. So I like Alex Garland a lot as a filmmaker. That's a trend I'm noticing with this list this year. Darren Aronofsky is a filmmaker that usually is in my top 10. Damien Chazelle had First Man, which was in my top 10. And here's Alex Garland, who had First Ex Machina. That was like my number 1 of 2015. And I like Annihilation a lot.
Oh yeah.
This movie's really bizarre in terms of like what it's trying to get across. It's similar to Blonde in respect to where I think it's like kind of like torture porn in a way, and I know what it's trying to get across to in terms of guilt and loneliness and isolation. But I felt like it's kind of done in a very kind of superficial way.
Yeah.
Something that I wouldn't have really expected from Alex Garland, who I think does a really good job with kind of exploring themes. Some obvious, some not so obvious, but I think he's a bit more of a better filmmaker than what he is here. I do like Rory Culkin a lot as the multiple
Kinnear.
Rory Kinnear, sorry,
Yeah,
not Rory
yeah.
Culkin.
All good.
Rory Kinnear as the multiple different versions of the men.
I think he's fucking great in this.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think Jesse Buckley's a little stiff for me in this.
Yeah.
And there's certain horror cliches that I think are kind of done similar to like Austin Powers whenever like they're trying to like mask like nudity stuff with like, you know, pineapples and whatnot. It just feels very kind of parody to me. The third fucking act is terrible. I fucking hate it. And it just goes on for way too long. And I don't care if it's like ridiculous and trying to explore the theme in kind of a body horror sense. I think it's just too annoying for me at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I think the themes are just a little too extra in terms of what he's trying to get across. I think it looks okay, and I think it's just it's a little heavy-handed with everything.
Oh, very
Um,
heavy-handed.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Men at all. So
Yeah. I will say
yeah.
I found pretty much the exact first half decently compelling because it's, it's very simple, it's very just kind of slow setting things up, but
Mhm.
when Rory Kinnear's like priest character starts just talking about incel shit and whatever, like I like laughed out loud, and from that point on it was like a whole downhill spiral. I think this has one of the most memorably awful endings to any movie I've ever seen. Like I was fucking baffled at the direction it went in, and
Mhm.
it definitely, yeah, I definitely, if it just, I just cannot comprehend like being on set and picturing Alex Garland being there, like, yes, this is it, this is great, this is how it's gonna end. It's like, dude, this, and I really don't think people should spoil it. I think this is like one of the more like enjoyably terrible movies. Like if you can watch it with a group of friends, get drunk, and appreciate its awfulness, like with a group, I think that would be like an enjoyable experience. Like, but yeah, holy shit, that ending was just I can't even fathom that it fucking happened. It was just such a terrible, terrible, terrible ending.
Yeah, I was not crazy about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good time. Roy Kinnear, or is it? Yeah, Roy Kinnear is really good though. Really good. I did
And I
like
really
him a lot.
like Jessie Buckley, and I was bummed I wasn't really vibing with her in this one. So
Mhm.
She does, and I'm a lot more positive on Men than you guys are, but
Oh, okay.
she does it's a very weird performance from Jessie Buckley in this
it's
movie. It's
very odd. I don't know what it is
uh
exactly. I don't know if she was like
also
thinking it will work or it doesn't work. I don't know. It felt like there was some trepidation
It's
there.
probably the direction.
yeah,
Probably.
I don't know. Quick update.
Yeah.
Just watched the entirety of that Meet Cute SNL short on silent, not based on the movie.
Okay.
Oh, good confirmation.
Good to know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
kind
you.
pretty kind of weird that they both had Pete Davidson though, and then the same
It
name.
is kind of weird that they both had Pete Davidson on. That little short might have been more fun than the movie. Let me tell. I couldn't tell because I couldn't hear it, but
I believe it.
oof, yeah, I don't know. The ending of Men is interesting. I don't know how to get into it without spoiling it.
No,
So,
yeah.
and I agree with you that it's not like it or hate it. It is not something that should be spoiled for people, and people should go watch the movie if they're curious about it. So I
Okay.
will let it lie.
Yeah. I forgot it came out this year too. So I was like, oh shit, do I even remember
It was-
this? So
It was very early this year.
it was like March, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was March. Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Nick?
think that's Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. All
Nick's
right.
gonna be like number 2, Men.
No. The first, I'm with Matt on the first half. For me, I actually have like no problems with the movie pretty much at all for the first half. But so yeah, I think some people I can see how they would get a lot out of it. My number 2 is like I would say genuinely. I think this movie, my number 2, is like on The Room levels of like enjoyable awfulness. Like I think we have discovered a new classically awful movie, and that is the sci-fi disaster epic Moonfall.
I want to see this.
Dude, this is
Yeah.
like firing on
Same.
all cylinders. This is like a 120 mile per hour screaming down the freeway explosive like car accident. Just absolutely every second of this movie is laughable, like enjoyably laughable. There are two different points in the movie where one character says I love Elon Musk, and I'm not, that's what he says. Like I'm not
Oh my
I'm not like summarizing. I mean like literally the line is, "Oh, I love Elon Musk." So let's see. The pacing for the first 25 minutes is astounding and hilarious as the writers attempt to rush through the expositional section of the plot at blinding speed. There's a quick shot of like civil war breaking out on local news as this guy who's like dressed in like, you know, the Fallout games. He looks like a Fallout character with his like awful like makeshift costume, and he literally points in the camera and he goes, "Stay awake, brothers and sisters, as the stars fall from the heavens, stay awake." Like it's that level of dialogue. There
I
are
love this.
too many unlikable characters not being developed in a way too short amount of time. We aren't given any time to properly get to know anyone. So as they're all like panicking and screaming because the moon is falling, it's just like really obnoxious and you can't wait for them to die. There's a line in the movie. This is just a line that happens in the movie. It's quote, "Everything we knew about the nature of the universe has just gone out the window. We're not prepared for this," but delivered with the like single most lazy, apathetic, phoned in delivery one could have. What's this main act? Patrick Wilson. Patrick Wilson is giving one of the
Matt's boy.
one of the toppest
That's
tier.
my boy.
He's okay. Well,
But-
this is one of the toppest tier autopilot performances I've ever seen. Like
I
he
believe that.
he gets the emotions out, but it's just so it's like the absolute bare minimum of what would be acceptable for a dramatic movie.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson really needs somebody like steering him.
Yeah.
He needs a James Wan in his life.
He needs James Wan. I wish that the line that you had just told us about wasn't was "This changes everything we know about the moon,"
Yeah, pretty close.
because that would have been
yeah.
a good line.
The whole lore aspect of this script feels like Roland Emmerich played the Halo 4 campaign on easy difficulty without playing any of the other games, and he absorbed half of the story from Halo 4 and decided he wanted to copy paste it into his movie. No spoilers, but like the moon crashing into the earth is by no means the biggest plot twist in the movie. Like it just goes in like I really don't want to spoil it. I really think people should watch this movie again.
Yeah,
like,
you
same-
shouldn't spoil it because I do want to watch this bad movie.
Yeah, you should like if you can get drunk and watch this. Oh man, it is a good fucking time. Like there are plot twists that are so unfathomably dumb that it's like, of course, Roland Emmerich of all people would be the one to actually go that route and just do the stupidest thing imaginable. I will say, but you know, to the movie's credit, there are a lot of sequences where like you have these pretty gorgeous, you know, mega wide shots of the moon like breaking apart and catastrophically like destroying parts of the earth, and they look pretty cool. Like, so you know, there is some genuine disaster spectacle in here that I think is like actually worth it. But yeah, just really, really bad. There are child actors in here who are like just blank. Like there's a scene where the moon is crashing, obviously, and the gravity from the moon is like ripping parts of the earth up because it's like, you know, whatever. The gravities are competing with each other. And people are in a fucking car driving away from the moon, and they outdrive the fucking moon, destroying the earth. And there are child actors in the car, and I actually paused the movie on like one of the frames in the car, and like you can see behind them that there's fire and explosions and the world is ending, and you pause the movie on the frame and all of the child actors have this bored, just like nothing expression, and it looks like they just don't know what was going on at all in the scene. Like maybe even Roland Emmerich forgot to tell them that they had rolled action or something. So absolutely a toppest tier, enjoyably awful movie. So go check out Moonfall. I think it's like actually on tier with The Room in terms of like just a good time. So yeah.
Good old Roland Emmerich.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
How many times can you destroy the world? Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really been popping off the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're number
Matt.
2.
My number
Had I
two-
seen Moonfall, it
Yeah,
probably would have
no,
knocked
please.
out Lightyear from my bottom.
They're both space movies, so
They're both space movies, so
Yeah.
it'd be neck and neck in
Yeah.
terms of what gets out. But I'm pretty sure it would knock out Lightyear in
Probably.
terms of like at
Uh,
least endearment level. You know.
yeah. My number 2 worst movie of the year is Clerks 3.
Oh,
I
this is
almost finished this on the
this
plane,
is
but I never got to finish
interesting
it.
to me. Okay, go ahead. This is very interesting to me. I disagree, but go please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I saw your 3-star review
Yeah.
and it will haunt me to my grave. I
I was like 20 minutes away from finishing it, and I think I would have given it like a 2.5. It's not terrible.
And yeah, this is
I
fascinating.
think it's
Okay.
pretty bad. I think even to the extent that it like has like is somehow forgotten like the basic fundamentals of like how filmmaking works. Like this thing is like edited and shot in like the wildest fucking way I've ever seen. Like every time somebody gets through half a line, it cuts to a different shot. Like they break the 180 rule
Mm.
at least 3 times a scene, every scene for the entire movie. The acting is bad.
The lead guy
I
is
mean,
pretty
yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
The acting is so bad that in the 3 scenes where Rosario Dawson comes in, it like fully invigorates you because you're just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
an actor.
Yeah. I
Holy
agree.
shit, they brought an actor in for this scene. It's it's a rough hang.
It's tough because it's like, I think at the end of the day, Clerks is like a movie that was made by friends, and I think Clerks 3 is kind of the same deal. So it's like it's hard for me to rag on it because I just don't like these actors don't really, they didn't really do anything else, you know?
Mhm.
I think the heart that he's trying to get at of the thing in the second half is really interesting,
Mhm.
but I don't feel like it works for like I feel like he just has a really hard time every time he hits like a good emotional stride. I feel like he immediately undercuts himself. It's I don't know. I'm not gonna go on for a long time, but it very
it's all
much
good.
did not work for me.
Yeah, so I mean
It's poorly made for sure.
Oh yeah, I am just not I just am not into the original Clerks or the sequel, and I'm not really into Kevin Smith at all, but again for me like
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
I'm not really into the original Clerks or the sequel either.
Okay, gotcha.
But
Yeah.
Matt loves
Yeah.
Tusk.
Wait, do you
I
love
do
Tusk?
love Tusk. That
Oh, okay.
movie fucking rocks.
I'm very split on it. I'm like I 50% of it I love and 50% of it I hate, but I think that's just more of a Kevin Smith styling thing, but yeah, for me and this is like a perfect example of how for me like my biggest thing is intent, and I think as far as the intent went, I think Kevin Smith like probably made exactly the movie he wanted to make. You know, it's I don't know. I went into this with low expectations. I really did not think I was going to like this, and maybe that contributed, but yeah, I don't know. I certainly I put myself in a mood to watch a mediocre Kevin Smith movie, and that's that's what I got.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
I get that. Also, Justin, I think there's a thing that happened. There's like a twist that happens at the very end of the movie. And I find it hard to believe that had you seen that twist at the end of the movie, you still would have given the movie 2.5 stars.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Because it's like the most shoehorned in, like they've like boxed themselves into a corner with like how the plotting happens.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have the most shoehorned in way to back out of it. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be curious to finish it.
Yeah. All right, Justin, you want to?
Had I finished Clerks 3, it would be mid, and Lightyear
Not-
would remain at number 10
Okay, yeah, I actually
in
I
the
would
bottom
agree.
10.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, but your
But
number
it doesn't
one.
go without consideration of getting it out to, put. Anyway, my number one.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
My number one, not much of a shocker. Jurassic World Dominion.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
Justin, can
You
me and you
wanna-
just
yeah.
do this at the same time? Because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
clearly what's happening. Yeah.
I will just I'll be very brief because I think Nick you hit all the points. Like
Yeah.
Campbell Scott fucking is terrible. One of the worst performances of all time. Legacy characters have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to do, and they're wasted. We're like I feel like I love Sam Neill, but I feel like Sam Neill is phoning it in.
Yeah.
Which was
Oh,
shocking
yeah.
to me.
Absolutely.
I was like, because it seems like he was like, I at the very least, we got a lot of fucking Twitter videos of him and Jeff Goldblum playing the piano together, like during filming. So they were just
Perfect.
loving life. Laura Dern's also particularly bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the characters are underutilized. Chris Pratt's mildly conservative, bad vibes. Nothing character. The new character that they have, the pilot, she is mildly interesting, and they didn't do anything with her. I don't understand how you don't do a kind of like Planet of the Apes style Jurassic Park film.
Right?
You
That would have
know,
been
I don't
fucking
underst- like,
awesome.
I don't understand how within like a year or two when this all happened, or 3 years, whatever the scale is, like there's been like only 63 dinosaur related incidents in the
Yeah.
world.
That's a good point.
And the fact that humanity is living in coexistence with dinosaurs is a little unusual to me, and kind of goes against like the whole idea of the chaos theory that Jeff Goldblum has in the first film. I don't care if the simple line of life finds a way is the whole kind of driving force as to why dinosaurs exist at the same time with humans. It still goes back to the table conversation in the first film about, you know, how Goldblum is saying, you know, there can't be one or the other, you know, their life specifically, nature specifically designed to have dinosaurs become extinct, and you know there can't be two apex um creatures on the earth at the same time. So I just
Mhm.
find it hard to believe that there are T-Rexes running around campsites, you know.
Mhm.
I don't understand why you have a whole world full of you literally have Jurassic World and you don't do anything with it. And you end up putting them
Yeah.
back in a park anyway. You have like this whole facility in the middle of nowhere where they're all locked up again, and it's like, well, what's the point? Like, what, you know, nothing happens. Literally nothing happens, and the whole plot's about bugs. And BD Wong, who is like supposedly the trilogy's villain, all of a sudden is a good guy now.
Yep.
The clone girl is retconned.
They also did
it's
BD Wong so dirty just with like his physical appearance over the course of
Yeah.
these 3 movies. Like
Yeah.
you just see BD Wong in Jurassic World Dominion and you're like, what did they do to this guy? It's wild.
Yeah, he goes through a weird look. Like I don't really understand his motivations throughout the whole franchise. He's very bizarre to me. I always thought it was
Mhm.
interesting that they made him kind of a villain in the new movies, but I was very confused by the end of it because I felt like his character had gone through nothing to justify his kind of reaction to um being a good guy outside of the Lotus subplot. The finale with the fake out of the T-Rex death was emotionally disturbing for me. And I felt used and abused
Yeah.
by Colin Trevorrow.
Mhm.
And I just felt like the whole movie was pointless, and there was and much like the Terminator franchise, this franchise has nothing else to offer, and it made $1 billion at the box office, so get ready for another Jurassic World. It's weird because I love Jurassic World. I fucking sat next to, I think, both of you.
Me or
Maybe.
No, it's just me.
Yeah, I
Was
can't
it just
remember.
you? I thought
It
we
was just
all
me.
saw it.
Yeah.
But I was weeping through Jurassic World and
Yeah.
fucking like going ham. I saw it 5 times in theaters. I fucking love that movie.
Oh shit.
Just because it's like it did a lot of like it tugged at the nostalgic strings pretty hard, and I thought they did a good job with the Jurassic Park sequel, where I wanted to see the park be open. I wanted to see them mutate dinosaurs. I wanted to see what else they could do with it. Does it all work? No, it doesn't. But like I enjoy it as a big kind of B movie monster film. And even Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, like that movie doesn't work, but the gothic kind of mansion horror aspect of it that it becomes later on is pretty fucking litty, so I can't like fault it too much.
Yeah.
So at least that one was different, and I appreciate that. This one, it's like it just like Colin Trevorrow claims that he had a plan for these movies, and I'm like, so the plan was that dinosaurs just live in coexist. They coexist with people, and they're gonna fucking work traffic stops with fucking, police officers. I just don't get it, man. I think Jurassic World Dominion is a poor example of a franchise that has no more steam, and it
Yeah,
needs
this
to
is
be extinct.
Whoa.
yeah, this is really the only thing I have to add. And Nick, I hope it is also my number one worst of the year.
Okay. That's what I thought.
So feel free to just write that in. I don't need my own segment to talk
yeah.
about it, but I just
Sounds good.
think it's so baffling that you somehow made a movie that sheer existence is based on the fact that people think dinosaurs are cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you made a movie that's so horrendously uninterested with dinosaurs that you forget it's a dinosaur movie because you're
Yeah.
like a raptor comes in like 40 minutes in and you're like, fuck, that's right. Oh, like,
That's another
yeah.
thing too, is that they don't do anything with Blue. Like Blue's this like
yeah.
ongoing dinosaur character that you know of, but they don't do anything with that character.
Yep.
Because it does. There is like some relationship with the Pine, these Chris people, the Chris Pratt character. They don't do anything with Blue at all. Like nothing happens. No one grows. No one changes. The only thing that happens is that some people feel resolution from Jurassic Park 3 with Ellie and Alan getting together, and I'm like, who the fuck cares? I didn't give two shits when Ray and Kylo got together. Fuck that noise.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
Agreed. Bad movie.
Lightyear's better.
Oh yeah.
Lightyear is better.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I agree.
Don't understand.
Okay. We'll bring it home here with our final bad movie of the year. You guys let me know if either of you saw this one. I feel like this was kind of a more kind of obscure movie. I don't know. I don't know what the perception is in terms of like how many people saw this or how many people knew it existed. It is a Netflix distributed Judd Apatow comedy called The Bubble. Either of you guys see this?
Shelby watched this, and I started watching it, and I was like, nah, not for me, and left.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
far
I
and
couldn't
away.
ever bring myself to hit play.
Good. Yeah. So this was like far and away. Like I'm looking at my other top 10 movies, and like the other ones are just like kind of either annoying or they had development hell problems or they were just poor adaptations. But this was the movie that stuck with me from the moment I watched it as my number one, and nothing else came close to dethroning it as my biggest hate watch of the year. Like I was so thoroughly annoyed and offended at every single beat that happens in this movie. So the whole plot is sneaking out, hooking up, melting down. The cast and crew of a blockbuster action franchise attempt to shoot a sequel while quarantining at a posh hotel. So this is Judd Apatow and his writers, I guess, trying to make quarantine like funny and cute. And it comes off as like exactly what you would think it is when a bunch of fucking rich ass smug millionaires who have, mansions try to make a movie about oh no, it's so terrible being locked in COVID. We all have to meet up and with our friends and have a great time and have sex with each other and make a feature film. Like, oh no, poor us. But the most awful thing about it is that you can tell by the presentation and the dialogue and the way the writing is constructed that Judd Apatow is what he's trying to do. Or I don't know. Let me make sure he actually wrote it. I want to name the people who fucked this up. Okay, yeah, it was Judd Apatow and Pam Brady who wrote this. That they're so clearly trying to make a movie that's like self-aware, that's fully self-aware of like, oh no, rich billionaires and millionaires shouldn't complain when they're locked in COVID. They have it so great. And then that's what they do for the rest of the movie is they complain about having to take COVID tests, and they complain about having to be locked up, and they complain about, oh no, we have to make a multi-million-dollar movie. And it's literally just a bunch of fucking cameos, like cameo after cameo after cameo of a bunch of modern stars who are trapped in a mansion, and they all just fuck each other, and they like do drugs, and there's just like it's just scenario after scenario of really dumb, stupid situations, and it even tries to pull this whole redemptive arc of like, oh, but they got through it in the end. You really like them, and you like these characters. God, I don't know. Let's see if there's any. It's one of those movies where like sex, just the fact that sex exists is funny, and selfish people saying selfish things is funny, and vomit existing is funny. Stupid people existing is funny. COVID tests are funny. Like there are no jokes. There are zero jokes. It's just this is a funny thing because I say it's funny. Just so fucking obnoxious and pretentious, and so far it's just like offensive. This is just offensive to everyone who had to go through COVID, which is the whole fucking world. So yeah, just so tasteless, thoughtless, bland, just nothing comedy where absolutely, I mean every single attempt at a joke does not fucking land. So yeah, just far and away the worst fucking piece of shit I saw all year. Like not even close. I was so angry. I was angry while I was watching this movie. So there you go.
Reminds me of I think my worst last year was Lockdown, Anne Hathaway movie.
Yeah, that was
which
also
very
a
similar.
yeah, a COVID
Yeah.
thing. Right. I didn't watch that, but I
Yeah,
remember that, yeah.
Very similar to I fucking anyway. Just threw me back to Chiwetel Ejiofor standing in the streets yelling poems and like fuck this movie.
Yeah. That sounds pretty similar. I remember. Okay, that's it, folks. We got our definitive top 10 worst movies of the year. Biggest consistent losers seem to be Jurassic World Dominion. Where is it? Don't Worry, Darling. And I feel like there was one more that got on here. Oh, The Whale. Yeah, you guys both thought The Whale deserved it. So yeah, there you go. Those are our biggest losers of the year. Shall we take
Had
like
I watched The Bubble,
There it
would
is.
not
Hit
be
me with that good.
Yeah.
my
Oof.
bottom 10.
All right.
Oof, there it is.
Well done. The joke has played itself out. We've come to the end. Shall we take like a 5-10 minute break and come back for top 10 best?
Sounds
Damn
good.
Fancy
All right.
toilet. Holy shit.
Yeah, go use that fancy toilet, boy. All right, BRB, everybody.